Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Let's see. Heck yeah. All right. Let's do the thing.
Here we go.
Investigation part 1, 2. The unexpected halt of proceedings set a clamor around the courtroom. But outside the Bailey, where Londoners knew nothing of the secret trial within, it was a typical still night.
I went for a nice walk.
We went for a nice jaunt through the neighborhood.
Stopped by the pawnbrokery, picked up a used book.
Mm-hmm.
We had a good evening.
Then, at a little past 8 o'clock that evening...
Yeah, but really?
Please
We're just
don't
gonna
let
cut to
something
8
random
p.m.
ass thing happen.
Who got mortared?
Mr. Sholmes and his partner returned. Okay, good.
Okay,
to
we're
Baker
gonna...
Street. No one died.
So, what did you do loitering around until then?
Are you just chilling?
You're chilling like a yawn.
You're just chilling.
Oh!
Wow.
They prepared a feast.
They made a meal.
They made a meal.
Sorry, baby.
It's okay.
I was not in my ideal position.
Okay, I gotta get in an... Ow! Dang, this is gonna take a
Sorry, sweetie.
Trying to be close enough to the mic, but have a
You're
room.
fine.
Okay, it's okay, really?
You're fine.
Okay. We have returned, my dear fellows.
Welcome back to Britain, and thank you for your timely help.
Think nothing of it. I believe you've had an even more wearing day than Mikatoba and I know.
You could say that.
You could say that, Mr. fucking Sean.
You could say that.
Uh-huh.
We were on the brink of defeat in court earlier.
So this prosecutor, Asugi, had you on the ropes, did he? And he's your best friend, you say?
He's definitely not the first time he had me in ropes. I mean, on the, yes, he's my friend. My best friend.
Who had you in the ropes?
Had me in the ropes. Well, what do you mean, well?
Well...
It's not really the man I knew in Japan anymore. Kazuma's changed. Oh, no!
Oh, Naruhodo-san.
I mean, it's incredible. To think that he'd even entertain the idea of acting as the Reaper's assassin.
Yeah, what in the world?
Yeah, that's upsetting.
Well, nevertheless, you must introduce me! I'll just hop on over to him and say, hello, I've been fucking your boyfriend on this chaise.
I think you're the last person he wants to see.
He was dead after all, so... Technically.
You said he was dead and he wasn't, and you knew he wasn't.
Ah, well, you may have gotten that information from an unreliable source.
It was you.
As I said, an unreliable source.
Okay, well...
After all, I've only ever met the young man as a corpse! Ha-ha!
He wasn't dead. When all this started, almost a year ago now. Mr. Sholmes still hasn't told us the truth about what really happened back then.
Yeah, Mr. Sholmes!
You piece of shit!
Mr. Sholmes!
About the motivation for what he himself described as a great detective's lie.
Yeah, what the fuck? Now then, I must say, it's really quite a journey all the way to France. I'm tired and I'm going to go sleep before you get any more
Hey,
truth
no,
out of
I
me.
have many questions for you.
Oh, good night, Toodles. Well, it is another country, Mr. Sholmes. So, what news of Judge Jigoku?
Oh, he died on the way over. We took him to Scotland Yard. The investigating detectives there have a lot of questions for the man. A lot. Poor Professor Mikatoba. This must be quite a shock for him.
Ah, yes. I picked this up at the telegraph office on our way home. What the fuck did you pick up, Sholmes?
What is it?
Surely you haven't forgotten already? I put upon you for the matter only yesterday.
You put upon me, Sholmes. I had to fill out your telegram to Japan and foot the bill as well.
Typical. Oh, you've had a reply already?
What was so urgent, though, Mr. Sholmes?
Such matters can wait until later. I'm far too hungry for an involved conversation at present. Off to eat. Well, that's good news, because supper is ready, everyone. I also don't want to talk about anything. Fabulous. Well, a great duo, Iris. What a feast it is. If I were none the wiser, I think the trial were won already. Roast beef, kippers, stew, steak and kidney pie, Yorkshire pudding.
And what is the bird? Is that the beef? Mr. Sholmes?
It's a roast beef turkey. Tomorrow could be a very long day, so eat up.
The roast beef turkey.
The roast beef turkey. In that case, I think I'll seat myself just here. This place appears to be the only one set with a helping of pheasant as well. Oh, sorry, Hurley, not there. You'll get punched in the dick again. Why ever not? Are we in set places this evening? Yes, and that place is for Susie's daddy.
For me?
This is awkward.
You know.
That's right, I made it especially for you, Professor Mickey. Aw, that's so cute. That's so cute, Iris.
I see. Well, that's terribly kind of you. You know, your baby daddy.
Mm-hmm. It's a shame, really.
What do you mean? I'm sorry, what do you mean? Sorry, I was doing my Mikatoba impression.
Excellent impression, my boy. Well,
I poisoned the roast beef.
For a brief moment, I believed it. That Susie and I were half-sisters, I mean.
Aww.
That's so cute, Iris. Oh. Iris, do you mean?
She's been listening the whole time?
Yes, I know now. I overheard yesterday. I secretly listened into the conversation you had after I tricked you all into thinking I'd left. What? What?
Rip.
Ripperonis.
The misunderstanding arose because of that autopsy report from 10 years ago. But actually, it turned out that neither Dr. Wilson nor Professor Mikatoba are Iris's father.
Ooh. Sholmes. Yes, about that, Iris. You know
You're a miserable liar?
I know. You can't tell me at the moment. Oh, Iris! The pheasant is by way of an apology. I'm sorry for eavesdropping.
Oh, no, that's quite alright.
Then why don't I get any apologetic pheasant? I've been a very good boy, wag wag wag.
Just who is Iris's father?
Question of the century.
I suppose that's not something we'll be finding out today.
I suppose not! So then, let us dine, while our largely pheasantless plates are still piping hot.
You don't get an apologetic pheasant because you lied to her in the first place.
Yeah, seriously.
You piece of shit.
We're just gonna hang out and have a nice pheasant dinner on the eve of everything falling apart.
Right. A fine idea, Sholmes. It all looks absolutely delicious. Reading.
Eat as much as you like. There are always seconds. Like there are always second chances for someone who wants to admit who my father is.
This could be our last chance to ask questions before tomorrow's trial. Hey, do you want to ask? You want to be asked some weird questions about that telegraph of Japan and about Kazuma?
About Kazuma.
I can't let this opportunity slip away.
No, you can't. You will never find out anything if you don't. Look at him. Look at him. Wow.
Why do you look so? Why you have to be mad?
That chaise looks really large now.
No one's over here. It's just
Sholmes.
Sholmes. It's only Sholmes.
Just Sholmes.
All right, I'm gonna sit next to you on the chaise then. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? Pouting? Because you don't get any pheasant? Yep, pouting.
Surely it's abundantly clear.
My name's not Shirley.
That I wasn't brooding over Mikatoba's refusal to share his pheasant with me. Sholmes, you got it bad. Nevertheless, I felt the need to withdraw from the social circle for a while and look on with hungry eyes. Pity me.
Feed me some of your pheasant. I'm like a begging dog.
Nose.
Lick.
Stare up at you intensely. Sorry, Hurley, but I cooked that pheasant especially for Susie's daddy. Even though I've played the role of father to you for far longer.
You've also played the role of big fat fucking liar, you piece of shit. Mr. Sholmes, could I discuss some things with you? Like super important things?
No.
Like incredibly important things?
I've got plans. I have a case. Certainly, my dear fellow, I find myself quite in the mood for a spell of conversation.
You are just a puppy dog.
Pet. No doubt you're hungry to learn more of my deep love of game.
Shh. I can probably contain my curiosity on that one.
Oh, burn! I love you, Dukin. Fine. You needn't look at me in that fashion.
I'm going to anyway.
Right, I may have lied to you for a while, but whatever.
In what fashion? Indulge me.
It seems that before we discuss the pheasant, we have some rather unpheasant matters to discuss. Ha ha ha! Ha ha! Ha! Converse.
Yeah, let's talk about how you've been telegramming to Japan.
What the fuck?
So what was in that telegram you received from Japan then?
Ah, this? I think my lucky stars had arrived in time. Record found as indicated. Duplicate follows. K. Asogi, A. Shin, T. Guregusan, J. Wilson.
What? Oh, this is a copy of that.
You got the whole thing, you got the whole fucking document. I'm super upsetty.
Yeah.
Super upsetty already.
Those 4 names.
Oh God, here we go.
We've come across this exact same list before.
Yes, we have.
Okay, I need to know what's in this. It came up in that unforgettable case last spring. You know, at the end of the last game. What appeared to be a simple case of aggravated murder turns out to be masking monumental intrigue. Oh, thank you, Tisha. A big drink. Whew. Yeah, that was a drink I needed. A plot that involved the sale of British governmental secrets to foreign states, and exposing the means by which those secrets were being leaked. We deciphered a fragment of the message. Keisogi, Aishin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson. We didn't find the names until after the case was over, and we never did get to the bottom of what they meant. All we knew was that the information had been sent by somebody in the British government to somebody in Japan. So why are the names coming up again now?
Yes. Where did the sender of your telegram discover them, Mr. Sholmes? I have here the message I had wired yesterday. Allow me to read it to you. Enter Judge Jigoku's office undetected and investigate telegram records. Expect to find communication from Britain dated 1 year ago.
1 year ago?
1 year ago? List of 4 names need by tomorrow. Naruhodo.
No! Why did you put my name on it?
You fucking asshole! Sholmes!
I sent it to a detective I know who specializes in clandestine missions of this nature.
You fucking asshole, I guess. You... Look, he's in his little outfit. Wow. You asked Inspector Hosonaga to undertake such an onerous task for you.
And in my name?
Yeah,
Hey, can we not gloss that one over?
Yeah. Hello.
I wonder what guise he opted for this time.
Nah. My dear fellows, it was a matter of great urgency, you understand?
Anyway, the list of names was found in Shishido's office, as Sholmes predicted. So you mean that mysterious collection of names that was sent from Britain to Japan was...
It was sent to Judge Chigoku. He was the intended recipient.
I don't believe it.
But that doesn't answer the question of what the list of names actually signifies. Sholmes?
Oh, thank you for the follow. Robot T-Duck. That is a name.
Robot T-Duck?
Robot T-Duck.
Awesome.
I love it.
I did formulate a hypothesis about that. But without a shred of evidence, I couldn't possibly have shared it. Well, doesn't stop you usually.
Mr. Sholmes. Looks deadly serious for once.
That is pretty fucking rare. Okay, alright, immediately go. No, go now.
Duplicate follows.
I don't like this. I don't like the way that they're lining these things up with a slash. Is Jay Wilson? Was Aishin gonna kill Kazuma? Are Kazuma and Aishin both assassins? Is Jay Wilson gonna kill Gregson? Is Jay Wilson an assassin?
I don't know because
Gregson's gonna kill Jay Wilson?
because that's the thing is we don't know why Asashin killed Wilson. We don't know why she did that.
Yeah.
This would because my initial thought is these are all people in the Reaper organization.
Yeah.
But if that was the case, why would she kill Wilson?
Right. Yeah, why? Was Wilson gonna reveal their secrets?
Yeah, what was the point of that?
And
but also 2 of these people are potentially Japanese. You know, and 2 of them are from England.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't know what's going on here, man. Why you gotta keep I've figured out Gregson's thing. We've figured out what happened to Gregson. It's just the rest of this clusterfuck that we need to untangle.
Alright.
Alright, let's talk about Kazuma's
Let's talk
death.
about him yet again like this.
Tragedy we had to go through on the SS Buria. You know, the one you lied to me all about.
Yeah.
It was all for nothing. Kazuma wasn't dead at all. We were completely taken in by the lie you told us. Your great detective lie.
Yeah. Motherfucker, Sholmes.
What are you smirking about?
I took no pleasure in deceiving you.
You better not have. I'm gonna
However,
take pleasure into smacking you in the...
At the time, all that concerned me was preventing the young man's study tour from taking place, whatever the cost.
What the fuck is your problem,
What?
Sholmes?
What? What? You were trying to stop him from reaching Great Britain. I capitalized on the events that transpired to see that he was sent back to Japan. His remains, you mean? Precisely, Miss Susato. And then, I made sure that somebody else was sent to Britain in his stead.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
You mean? The arrangement between our 2 countries was already in place. 1 university student lawyer and 1 judicial assistant to be accommodated on a study tour. In other words, by arranging for someone else to fill the place originally intended for Mr. Osogi. I would successfully prevent the man from arriving on our shores for several years at least. What? Whoa! The anticipation was that Kazuma was going to be there for several years.
Wait, do you mean to say that it was all in aid of stopping Kazuma coming to Britain? That's why you...
Think back, Mr. Naruhodo. Was there not somebody who quite casually urged you to continue on the voyage to England?
The terms of his study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. In the light of Mr. Sogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead.
My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is one lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely. But there is no one else with the necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer. The voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves another suitable lawyer. Oh, Mr. Sholmes.
So you manipulated me.
Mr. fucking Sholmes.
I'm gonna kick you in the dick. Like, several times.
I've often remarked on the extraordinary lengths to which friendship will drive a man.
I hate you so much. Me personally, this is Queen speaking.
I was quite sure that you would rise to the challenge for your late friend. Holy
I don't believe it.
Mr.
Punch him.
Mr. Sholmes.
Punch him.
Punch him.
Punch him.
Susato takedown.
You are lucky I don't have a sword anymore.
But if it was all contrived... I mean, what happened was treated by the authorities as murder. A woman was mistakenly arrested as the perpetrator. What do you suppose became of her? Naturally, I didn't allow the misapprehension to have any serious repercussions. I subsequently explained everything and assisted the unfortunate soul in finding the foreign refuge she sought. I don't trust you, Mr. Sholmes. I don't believe that you did that necessarily. You're not trustworthy.
There's really nothing there's really nothing at this point that makes me trust you. I seem to remember Miss Susato and I had some rather strong words for her.
Well, she was certainly not devoid of all guilt. She deserved every word, I'm sure.
Shut up! Shut up!
Punch this man in the face!
I wonder if she made it to America then.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Send her a telegram after all this is over.
Yeah, seriously.
This poor girl.
I'm afraid I simply cannot comprehend it. Why would you go to such lengths, Mr. Sholmes? Why were you so determined to stop Kazuma-sama from reaching Britain? The truth is, 12 months ago, there was already a very tangible omen of the impending tragedy, you see. Oh? An omen that, at this very moment in time, is close at hand.
I suppose you're gonna be vague about this the entire night.
Gonna be fucking vague about this.
An omen of all these tragic events that already existed a year ago. It's close at hand.
Fuck.
We need to find out exactly what Mr. Sholmes knows.
Yeah, like, ask him right now. Oh, present shit.
Okay, what?
Present the telegram.
What omen? Is it this one?
Sure, present it to him.
There was no room for doubt with your instructions in the telegram, Mr. Sholmes. You were very clear that it was Judge Shigoku's office that should be searched, so... You obviously knew that's where the list of names would be found.
K. Asogi, A. Sheen, T. Gregson, J. Wilson.
But we only learned of those 4 names just over 6 months ago now. And only because they appeared as part of the top-secret government communications that were leaked.
That's true, yes. But at the time, you are unaware of the background. You see, those 4 names were wired to Japan around 6 months before that. Approximately this time last year, in fact, when you were both still in Japan. What? It really would be hypocrisy on my part to reprove others for intercepting state secrets. Because after all,
Thank you, Tisha.
I'm perpetually eavesdropping on communications between the British and Japanese governments.
What the fuck is wrong with you? You are lucky you haven't been assassinated yet, my dude.
Are you printing caramel discs? Is that what you're doing?
So how long until you get arrested for that shit? You're perpetually doing what? How?
Never mind the details.
Never mind the details.
Never mind the details.
Shut the fuck up.
But you should know. No secret is safe from Herlock Sholmes when he has designs on knowing it. Oh my, Mr. Sholmes. What a fabulous line.
Shut up. Okay, Susato, I love you. I love you so much. Not the time.
Now, 1 month after that list of 4 names was wired to the recipient Jigoku in Japan, Dr. John H. Wilson was murdered.
By Asashin.
Yeah, who was in Japan. As soon as I learned of the incident, a hypothesis rapidly took shape in my mind. As it turned out, I was partly correct, and partly mistaken. Typical me. Nevertheless, it was the beginning of all the tragic events that were to follow. Mr. Sholmes, please, tell us all you know. All of it.
All of it.
Tell us about these 4 names and the tragedy to which they're all somehow connected. Mr. Sholmes.
Sholmes.
Sholmes. Sholmes.
Sholmes.
As I said, when I learnt of Dr. Wilson's murder in Japan, my mind immediately turned to those 4 names because, you see, there was someone else on the list who I believed to be recently deceased.
What? Who?
A Shin, as it was transcribed in Japanese script. In actual fact, Miss Asa Shin. That was a familiar name to me. She was a professional killer, known well among London's unsavory classes.
Hi, Ziva.
Hello, Ziva.
Welcome back. Oh, I see.
But she had completely vanished from existence several months before Wilson's murder. So I came to the logical conclusion that she had herself been killed. And accordingly, I became fearful for the lives of the remaining 2 persons on the list. Ah, Kei Asogi and T. Gregson. Owing to our proximity, I decided to take measures to protect Gregson myself. But I determined it would be safest if young Asogi were to stay away from Britain. I'm a hero, you see! Ha ha ha!
So that's why you went to such lengths to prevent his study tour from going ahead.
Exactly. But
He didn't know that Aishin was the one who killed him.
I'm confused. Am I following this right? He said that he found out Jay Wilson had been murdered.
Right.
In Japan.
Yes.
And so he thought he should keep Kazuma in Japan. Am I missing something here, Mr. Sholmes?
I don't know.
Okay. Exactly. So, you already knew who Kazuma-sama was, Mr. Sholmes.
Oh yes, Sholmes and I have exchanged correspondence for years.
What the fuck?
Is that why you arbitrarily put... I recounted many tales about Asogi in my letters, and the news of Dr. Wilson's death, of course.
Really? Wow. This is fucking crazy. This is crazy. So, Dr. Wilson is dead then?
Don't worry.
He wasn't your dad.
He wasn't your dad.
It's okay, Iris. I didn't know.
Yeah, we purposely kept that from you. Oh, Iris.
I know he wasn't my daddy, but still, that's very sad.
It is very sad.
It is very sad. I'm so sorry, Iris. We knew the significance of the name, obviously, but we just couldn't bring ourselves to tell you. No.
But what you just told us, Mr. Sholmes, doesn't completely tie in with the facts. There's only one big hole. There is one big hole in your hypothesis.
A big hole?
I am an expert in big holes. Is it just Beerus? I mean, that's exactly the point, Ziva. That's exactly the point. He's supposed to be.
You got it.
He is basically that.
Okay.
Yes, you mean about Asashin, I presume.
Of course.
Exactly. She wasn't killed, was she? She was in Japan, posing as a visiting student under the name of Josiah Brett.
I'm glad you're keeping up, my dear fellow. But I only became aware of that fact 2 days ago in the foyer of the Great Waterloo Hotel.
You gotta be kidding.
Really? You know everything and... Really? What? Wait! Mikatoba didn't tell you that? He didn't tell you about Josiah Brett?
Why not?
And upon hearing that startling revelation, the hypothesis that I'd formed surrounding those 4 names was completely turned topsy.
Sure was. What topsy?
Topsy hypothesis.
What do you mean you said your hypothesis was turned topsy, Mr. Sholmes?
I had believed all 4 names on the list to be the names of victims. However, I was mistaken.
Very much so. Asashin was a killer. So this telegram is a list of both victims and killers, is it? I don't know that that's true.
Indeed, and it would seem that Miss Sheen was dispatched from Britain with the sole intention of dispatching Dr. Wilson. Her visiting student status being merely a front. Which would of course explain why no motive could be determined for her actions.
So the real reason Dr. Wilson was killed by Asashin is because he was a target of an assassination.
And forearmed with that knowledge, fresh consideration of this telegram...
No.
Puts the list in a very different perspective. No.
What do you mean?
Well, does it not strike you? There is another among the 4.
I'm gonna kick you in the dick. Don't even say what you're about to say.
Who subsequently became a visiting student.
Wait. No. No.
But of course, a name you know only too well.
No, you're wrong. You mean Kazuma?
Ah!
He did say in court earlier today.
What? Yes. On the 31st of October, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission. And the mission was the assassination of the Mark. Young Mr. Osogi accepted that mission a year ago now. What? Surely not!
Shut the fuck up. He did not kill him.
In conclusion, this document is a contract of sorts.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Shut up.
An international agreement, one might say. Detailing an assassin exchange. No, it's not. No, it's not.
An assassin exchange?
No.
How could Kazuma possibly have gotten involved in something like that?
No, Mr. Sholmes, no. Let's assume that we have 2 parties each wishing to dispose of a distinct individual. Those 2 parties then make a contract to swap their respective assassination targets. What? That would then be an assassin exchange. So, to begin with, the British assassin is dispatched as a visiting student to Japan, where she kills her target. And then the Japanese assassin is dispatched as a visiting student to Britain in order to eliminate his target. Certainly does Sound like an exchange.
A foreign exchange.
Very
A foreign exchange students.
So foreign.
But what on earth is the point? Don't forget, Naruhodo, that the British assassin at least escaped conviction. Thanks to diplomatic immunity afforded by consular jurisdiction. Oh, yes, but I was almost convicted for that, by the way. Hey, does anyone remember that?
BT dubs?
Such jurisdiction should be null and void under the terms of the new treaty between our countries. So the fact that it was brought into play suggests intervention at the very highest levels. The highest levels?
What is going on? These murders were two sides of the same coin, linked not by a common motive but by contractual agreement. As such, they appeared utterly unrelated, yet in truth, the assassins were complicit in one singular devilish scheme. That dissociation and the safeguard of diplomatic immunity were, I believe, the motivation behind this plot.
But wait a minute, Sholmes.
Yeah, wait a fucking minute.
If this telegram really is describing the exchange of assassins, as you're suggesting, this is really... It would mean that the Japanese killer target was never Seishiro Jigoku at all. That would mean Asogi's target was actually Inspector Gregson. What? Cosmo's here for Gregson? So Jigoku wasn't actually the mark?
Yes, that's exactly what it would mean. I hold myself personally responsible for failing to keep the inspector safe.
Cosmo didn't kill him, though.
Mm-hmm.
The guy uses two swords, and Gregson was shot with a gun.
Mr. Sholmes, fuck you. I told him of my fears and implored him to seek a transfer to an overseas position. Obviously, with the young pickpocket in tow.
Yes, Gina. Come to think of it, Inspector Gregson did mention that to us at the Great Exhibition. That he'd be transferring to Paris, to the Paris police, and taking Gina with him.
But without informing me, he engaged in one last assignment, it seems. And sadly, turned out to be his very last.
This is too much to take in.
Don't agree.
Well, it's too bad he's wrong.
Yeah, he's wrong. Everyone's wrong about everything. All right, everyone, that's quite enough of all that serious talk for one day. I'm just going to break up this very grave mood with some pie. Isn't it early? I mean, look at the time. Really must be getting on. Ah, quite right, Iris. We must conclude our preparations for tomorrow.
What preparations? Well, I think I should make my way back to the hotel now. This has certainly been a night to remember.
What the fuck? We're just gonna say that Cosmo came here on an assassin exchange and you're just gonna go back to your hotel room. It is a little bit sad, though. I mean, I liked the idea of you being my daddy. Because then Susie would have been my big sister.
Aww.
That's so cute, Iris, and it's so out of tune with everything else we've been talking about tonight.
I'm sorry, Iris.
I know, Iris. I was thinking quite the same thing.
Aww.
That's very sweet, but
also I would have killed my father in cold blood.
I would have killed both of our dads. Would you have? But if somebody like me would be worthy, I would be delighted to become your sister.
Aww. Adopt
so
her.
cute.
Migatoba, this is your cue to adopt her.
Mm-hmm. What? Really? Oh yes, without question. Aww. So, you'll teach me all the ways you know to throw Runo to the floor.
No. Hey!
Sato takedown.
I need to intervene in this conversation.
Yes, of course, it would be my pleasure. First, I'm going to try it on Mr. Shaw.
You didn't have to agree quite so readily.
Oh, but wait a minute. If Susie's going to be my big sister, you could be my big brother if you want, Runo.
That's really cute. We're not related. Susato and I aren't related. Huh? I mean, yeah, of course. If you'll have me, I'll gladly be your brother.
Cute, but, Well done, Iris. We must always be mindful of feelings. I've raised you so well.
Oh, okay, so I was... never
Wow,
mind.
you're so mindful of feelings, Mr. Sholm. So mindful. I would like to punch him in the face with this entire house.
I'd like to throw him out the window. That would be punching him in the face with the pavement down below.
Yes.
Because being sensitive is your strong suit, naturally.
God, Mr. Sholmes.
And you are continually lucky that I do not have a sword anymore.
Right, I'm going to work extra hard for tomorrow now, because it's for my big brother and sister.
Oh,
That's adorable, Iris.
What is all this talk about preparing for tomorrow? Preparing what?
You'll just have to wait and see.
Great! I love being surprised. Tonight has been such a big surprise. Oh.
Good luck in court tomorrow. I'm expecting a sterling performance. Fuck you. Fuck you and your
I
expectations.
want to go back to... You know what? I don't want to go back to Japan. You know where I want to go? Anywhere else. Fly me to Tahiti. I don't fucking care. Anywhere but here. I'll do my very best, of course. But not for you. For Lord Van Zeeks, the only person who hasn't lied to me this whole fucking time. So the overnight break in the trials proceedings became a crucial turning point. Exposing new truths. Exposing new dumbassery.
No!
While exposing new conundrums. That list of 4 names on the the telegram in Judge Jigoku's office. And the extraordinary assassination plot. No. All right, Kazuma, we're gonna have a chat. Felt as though as I had been plunged into an even greater darkness all of a sudden.
But very odd music for this.
But at the same time, I felt sure I would see the light again soon. Aww. Because I was lucky enough to have everyone but Sholmes. The most wonderful family in the world standing steadfastly beside me, and my shithead my shithead boyfriend.
Yeah, just,
my fucking landlord, my shithead landlord.
Crop him out of the... Okay, just... Ryukun, in the game, is just accepting all this and being like, Mr. Sholmes, you're my wonderful family? Really? Really?
No. Shut the fuck up.
No, this is bullshit.
You are someone I tolerate at best, Sholmes.
Oh my fucking god, I'm so fucking mad right now.
To
Fuck
be
you.
continued. Hooray!
Well, we're continuing.
Of course, it was 45 minutes until the to be continued. So
There's no way.
we would have died last night if I had continued to the to be continued.
Yeah. I'm so upsetty right now.
I'm extremely upsetty. Oh, I can't wait to see you again. Lord Van Zeeks, you are the most honest person in this courtroom.
Before we begin today, I have a brief announcement.
I hate you.
As with the closed trial 10 years ago, some astonishing facts have come to light in these proceedings. The revelation that the well-known Reaper is actually an organization illegally executing its own brand of justice.
Of which you are the top.
And the discovery that a respected yard inspector was at its heart until he himself perished in an assassination plot. You know what I'm feeling right now? I'm feeling like I'm not going to be satisfied with anything. Because I don't know if I'm going to believe anything that gets exposed at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that everyone's lying to everybody about everything. Except maybe Gina. And
Kazuma, you really better not be a bad guy.
You better not be. You better fucking not be. Well, I say to all members of the judiciary here present on this occasion that we will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings. Councils, you will undertake this trial with the resolve to pursue the truth to the bitter end.
You say that, but yet you're gonna really hate what comes out of this. Resolve, yes, that's my intention.
My lord, if I may inquire.
No.
The defendant may speak. On what grounds is Kazuma Asogi permitted to continue in his role as prosecutor? Oh.
Honestly, I'm on your side right now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I'm on your side,
Yeah.
Lord Van Zeeks.
Like, you know, yeah. He has admitted to colluding with the victim in a plot to assassinate an innocent man. He shouldn't be enjoying the privilege of freedom, let alone be leading the prosecution. I submitted a written petition to Lord Strongheart, requesting that judgment of my transgressions be delayed by 1 day. You did what? In today's proceedings, I intend to expose everything.
Everything?
Everything?
I could take that out of context, but also...
My whole life for the last 10 years has all been leading up to this one day.
You better have a good fucking reason to have done everything you've done, if you've even done it.
Yeah.
Kazuma?
Whatever the outcome of this trial, I give my word that I will accept whatever punishment is deemed appropriate, however severe. And I suggest you prepare yourself for the same, Reaper.
Shut the fuck up, Kazuma. I love you very much, but you need to shut the fuck up. Kazuma's bristling with hostility today. I get the distinct impression we're heading into very dangerous territory.
Is that really even Kazuma-sama standing before us? As an extreme exception to normal practices, I have granted this prosecutor's request. The defense finds this acceptable, I presume.
I mean... define acceptable. Also, hi, Wolfie.
Hi, Wolfie.
Yes, my lord. For some reason, I find this acceptable. You know what? I actually don't find anything acceptable, but I don't really think I have a more acceptable alternative.
In that case, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again.
I want Lord Van Zeeks to be prosecuting himself.
Yeah. We resume the closed hearing of Barak Van Zeeks.
The defense is ready, my lord. Is the defense ready? Also, look at all this fucking evidence we have. Do you remember that one trial where we had no evidence?
We have 4 pages of evidence?
4 pages of evidence.
Oh my god, this is insane.
Hi.
The prosecution is more than ready.
Oh, you just had to one-up me. Cool.
Very well then, this preamble has taken long enough. Prosecutor Asogi, begin. As you wish, my lord. The prosecution calls the first witness to the stand. Bring Seishiro Jigoku into the courtroom.
At last, then. We've reached the final battle.
It's the final battle.
It's gonna take us at least 3 hours to get through this, I'm sure.
Is it the final battle of the final chapter?
He's putting literally everything on the line now in order to get the truth. Come on, Inosuke. It's time for that steely resolve. This is gonna test it to the limit.
Frankly, who the fuck can Ryukun trust right now? Basically Susato and Gina.
Susato
And Toby the
end
dog.
of sentence.
Yeah.
Susato end of sentence. Gina probably better than anyone else. Iris maybe.
Yeah, Iris is a question mark.
Mikotoba is too engrossed in everything.
He was apparently telling Sholmes about Cosima for years. So I guess, okay, in speculating, so apparently Mikotoba was telling Sholmes so much about Asugi and like talking him up, and so that's why Sholmes was like, oh, I see him on the list, I want to make sure this guy doesn't die because this is someone who my partner cares about.
Right.
Otherwise, who the fuck cares?
Right.
Why would he care why would he care about this guy? It would have to be because he cares that Mikotoba cares about him.
Right.
Ha. So it was you who issued this, was it? Your subpoena? I did what was necessary.
Once again, you're everybody in this room, sadly.
I'm everyone in here. Ha ha! Well, look at what the young man has become. I didn't think I'd see the day when you'd take that tone with me, I must say. The witness will ensure his responses are pertinent to the questions asked. My name is Seishiro Jigoku, a Supreme Court judge from the Empire of Japan. 16 years ago, this man came to London as a visiting student. 6 years later, he returned to Japan. As well as presiding over the Supreme Court, he is also currently Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. I am, of course, fully aware of Mr. Jigoku and his preeminent roles. I invited him personally to the International Forensic Science Symposium as a representative of his country. I hear he also played a key role in the conclusion of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation.
Thank you, Tisha.
Ha! It was a great honor to be involved in the negotiations. I put my all into that treaty.
Judge Jigoku, I must ask.
Yeah, you must ask.
I must ask
fucking ask.
so much. I'm only gonna ask one question, but I want you to know I have about 1 billion.
Well, I never. Fancy the young murdering student turning up here of all places.
Shut
Ha ha!
up! I didn't murder anyone. You acquitted me yourself. And now I'm a practicing defense lawyer.
So get fucked. Yes. And full of self-importance like your friend across the courtroom, I see. Oh.
What an asshole. You came here to London by invitation to the International Forensic Science Symposium. I'm just going to ignore your insults. But then, without informing anyone of your plans, you took flight to France.
Took flight? Haha. I'd have to object to that turn of phrase.
I don't give a shit what you object to. Then explain yourself. What exactly were the circumstances?
Well, I was somewhat expecting this. And I'm sorry to say, I declined to comment. I thought so! I fucking thought so!
Like,
He's
we're
just
not gonna get a straight
to
answer.
Comment.
What?
Leaving the country prematurely when I was an invited guest may be questionable etiquette. But my decision is unrelated to this case. I can't be bound to testify. Unrelated, you say?
Well, you see, Gregson was killed in your room, so...
I appreciate that a respected police inspector has been killed, for which I offer my condolences. However, being an alien, I'd obviously never met the man, nor do I know the first thing about him. You know that these two were in your cabin.
You know...
Yeah, there's that. We just present that. As such, I'm in no position to testify. It's as simple as that. So, you would run from all this? I beg your pardon? This case is more far-reaching than the murder of Inspector Gregson. It has ties to another murder. A case that was tried in Japan almost a year ago now. A year ago in Japan. The murder of Dr. John H. Wilson, you mean?
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah, you were there!
Remember when I was shoved into a cupboard? Not when I was shoved into a wardrobe, the one where I was in a cupboard. That's right, and you, Judge Jigoku, are at the heart of both cases. The defense has evidence to prove it. Also, you knew I was innocent from the onset, you piece of shit.
Asshole. Well, Ryukun, I see from the look in your eyes.
Don't call me that. Not right now.
Ryunosuke. And you're resolved to carry this through to the very end, too.
They're just saying the thing so much.
Resolve. It's resolve. Let's see your evidence, then. Got plenty of fucking evidence.
This is a telegram detailing a communication sent between Britain and Japan approximately 1 year ago. The communication contained 4 names. K. Isogi, A. Sheen, T. Gregson, and J. Wilson. Oh, he bad.
You little... Oh! Where did you get that? Wow.
In Tokyo. From your office, Judge Shigoku.
Oh, God. What? How on earth did you... What's this all about? Why is my name on that list?
This is a list of 4 names that follows a certain pattern. T. Gregson and J. Wilson are the names of victims. Isogi and A. Sheen are the names of assassins.
No!
A year ago in Tokyo, Dr. John H. Wilson's life was taken in a Western-style restaurant in the capital. The culprit was found to be a visiting student who went by the name of Josiah Brett. But her real name was Asa Sheen, a professional killer, sent on a mission to kill from Great Britain. But they didn't change Kazuma's name and didn't tell him he was an assassin?
A. Sheen and her victim, J. Wilson.
And the murder that just took place here in London was the counterpart to that crime. An assassin sent from Japan, also a visiting student, Kazuma Sogi. Don't say this in court, my dude. Whose victim was British Police Inspector Tobias Gregson.
K. Asogi and T. Gregson.
This is fucking wrong.
One
Thank you,
assassin
Ziva.
from each country to kill a target residing in the other. They're just repeating what Sholm said.
This is wrong, by the way.
What exactly is the defense suggesting? And why is Cosmo just taking
These 2 cases of murder, one that took place in Britain and one in Japan, were masterminded by a pair of individuals from each country as a form of assassin exchange. And the telegram the defense has acquired is proof of this international contract to kill. You are wrong. You have no proof of this.
What?
You have no proof of any of... What are you doing? The telegram was found in your office, Judge Shigoku. In other words, the mastermind in Japan was you.
Judge Shigoku? What's this all about?
He didn't know. He didn't know he was going to be used as an assassin. And you, Kazuma? You lied. No, I don't think he did. During yesterday's proceedings, you acknowledged that you'd accepted the assassination mission. But the mark wasn't Judge Shigoku at all. You're wrong. I think you're wrong about this. It was T. Gregson, Detective Inspector of Scotland Yard. As shown by the name on the killing contract. What? No! No?
Ryunosuke. But actually, I didn't lie.
Okay, well there's that. Thank you.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Don't tell me I'm correct and then I'm wrong.
What? The name of the target I was ordered to kill never passed my lips yesterday. The idea that Seishiro Jigoku was the mark came entirely from you.
You deliberately avoided saying a name.
The defense claims these 4 names indicate some sort of international assassin exchange. I'm sure I speak for all present when I say that the very idea seems utterly absurd. Well, Mr. Jigoku, what do you have to say for yourself?
His silence only goes to prove his guilt.
There's another very important point that this new development brings to light. There's now a distinct possibility that the scene of Inspector Gregson's actual murder was in the witness's cabin aboard the SS Grouse.
Judge Shigoku, you have to testify now. To refuse, you would put you in contempt of court.
Ha 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 ha! There's no need for quite such a vicious stare, young man. Very well then, as a parting gift to you all, I'll tell you everything I know.
I hate this.
It seems this Japanese gentleman has information that the court must hear. About the alleged assassin exchange and the events of the night of the 31st October. Present your formal testimony now. As you wish, my lord. It's true that Kazuma Sogi was assigned the assassination mission 1 year ago now.
So why did you accept it?
The target was Inspector T. Gregson. That was a condition of the British study tour.
What? What the fuck is wrong with you?
However, in the end, something happened that meant the young man was unable to carry out his mission. On the evening in question, a member of the crew was on duty outside my cabin at all times. If there had been a shot fired, the crewman would have heard it, so clearly I can't be involved! Ha 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 ha!
You're an idiot. I'm not even gonna press you on any of this. I hate you so much. So you admit it then. As his communication suggests, there really was an assassin exchange arrangement between Britain and Japan.
A political endeavor at the highest levels, not something I can discuss here. To use such a worthy practice as foreign study to coerce somebody to commit murder? It's the most appalling thing I've ever heard. Appalling? Well, it's easy to judge. Pardon? Asogi had a reason for taking his sword to that British inspector, you know.
You know, because you thought he was the Reaper?
Because he's the... Which is why he accepted the mission in the first place. Isn't that right, Council? Kazuma-sama?
Judge Shigoku, if you're the mastermind behind this operation in Japan, then tell the court the identity of your counterpart in Britain.
I'm not obliged to divulge that information.
Well, he's not. That's fair. That really doesn't have anything to do with this case.
As I said yesterday, I've killed nobody. I freely admit that I accepted the mission, but on the night the plan was to be executed, I backed out. In short, this assassination exchange that the defense has identified is unrelated to the events of this case. The crucial point is this. Your police inspector can't have perished aboard that steamship in Dunkirk.
Nope, you're a fucking liar, is the thing.
Because if he'd been shot in the cabin, it's inconceivable that a member of the crew wouldn't have heard it. That's right. Gregson was killed after returning to London, in the room on Fresno Street. And the perpetrator of the crime was the Reaper, Berk van Zieks.
Nope, you're fucking wrong.
The prosecution's accusation remains unchanged. To think that a seemingly innocent foreign exchange program was a facade for such Machiavellian dealings.
You're putting on a good front, Strongheart here, but you wrong.
Clearly it's a plot only a government minister and high-ranking judge such as the witness could hope to execute.
You know, and like yourself? And like yourself?
Well, I seem to recall that it was someone on the British side who controlled everything. Be that as it may, it is not the place of this court to pursue this villainous assassination exchange plot.
Conveniently.
We are concerned only with the tangible events pertaining to the murder of Inspector Gregson. Which is literally what you're now saying is that... Is the defense clear on that point, counsel?
Sure. Yes, my lord. I'll keep that in mind as I cross-examine the witness. My baby is very upsetty. Very upsetty spaghetti. I'm pretty sure. I don't need to press him here.
Wait. Can you go? Just hang on. I'm sorry. Go back to the beginning.
Where?
Why? The beginning of his freaking testimony. Fucking press this. I'm sorry. Press this shit. Okay. Press it.
Hold it.
A year ago, when Cosmo was still in Japan, then.
Correct. It was at the examination center for applicants for the study tour that I approached him. I'll never forget it. I remember exactly what you said. You just came out and asked me forthright if I'd considered traveling to Britain on an assassination mission. Surely not! I thought it was a joke at first, of course, but then... It was made clear to me that if I didn't accept, I wouldn't be considered for the study tour.
He didn't actually ever intend to carry it out.
Yeah, he was like, I'll just accept this, and I'll come on the study tour, and then I won't actually do it.
So you agreed to it just for that? I mean, I know how much you wanted to study in England, but assassination?
The Empire of Japan had accepted a proposal from the British Empire at the time. An agreement to send a student from each country to the others to deepen cultural understanding and friendship. But behind the scenes, the chosen students were to be given assassination missions. I had no choice but to accept the proposal that originated from my British counterpart. Why? Why didn't you expose the plot there and then?
Because he's being blackmailed, obviously.
Britain acknowledges no part in these alleged misbegotten dealings. I advise you not to make spurious allegations, Foreign Minister Jigoku. As a witness, I am bound to tell the truth, my lord. Ooh. Anyway.
Fight.
I picked Asogi and explained the details of the plan to him. I'm sure you picked him for no reason at all. Okay.
Yeah, so what about the fact that he was gonna be like, Kazuma can't go if Ryukun was declared guilty?
Press this, please.
Alright, I guess we're pressing everything then.
I need to know.
Okay.
Yeah, why Kazuma?
Why
this
Kazuma?
is actually important.
Okay, fine, we'll press everything. Why Kazuma? Why did you pick him as the assassin?
He was the most capable of all the applicants, and in addition, I knew his desire to travel to Britain was very strong. You knew why.
Yeah, so you manipulated him.
You knew why. In fact, it was almost more than a desire. It was his whole purpose in life.
Yes, as his best friend, I can certainly attest to that. The way he threw himself into his studies, the way he pursued becoming qualified as a lawyer. It was all ultimately for the one single goal of being accepted on a study tour to Britain.
And of course, we know the reason behind that. He was determined to find out for himself the truth about his father, Genshin Asogi. There's nothing I wouldn't have done to get here. Be that agreeing to assume the role of an assassin, or betraying people's trust. Well, you certainly did a fine job of betraying mine, Asogi.
Yep, you sure did. But why was Inspector Gregson the target?
I have no idea. Those were the orders from Britain. I was in no position to question them. You have no idea? Really? I find that hard to believe. Oh, do you? Judge Jigoku was once a visiting student here in Britain himself, of course. Perhaps he has some connection with Inspector Gregson from that time. The defense really ought to catch up.
With what?
With the fact that the assassin exchange has absolutely nothing to do with the case under scrutiny here. Yes, I've already admitted to recruiting Asogi.
Do you want me to press this?
Yes.
Okay. I presume you're referring to the incident that occurred during Cosmo's passage to Britain in January. The awful tragedy that took place on the steamship.
Word arrived at the ministry some 2 weeks after the ship's departure from our shores. The visiting student had been killed, but his body had somehow gone missing in Hong Kong. The news was wired to me from a detective I'd placed on the ship to accompany the assassin.
Obviously, Cosmo didn't actually die at all. But he did lose his memory, including all the details about his special mission.
Did you not consider dispatching another assassin at that point? That wasn't possible, simply because that black-clad young student over there had already put himself forward as Asogi's replacement. And there was no way to stop him from reaching Britain.
Ah.
My hands were completely tied. So, Mr. Sholmes' strategy worked perfectly.
He predicted everything that would happen. Maybe that's why they were trying to recall him back to Japan.
Mm-hmm. Months later, my memory returned. But I never intended to go through with the assassination mission anyway. So you were playing me right from the outset, were you?
And so were you. Hello?
Is that it? I'd sooner be guilty of that crime than of taking someone else's life. I was prepared to do whatever I had to in order to get myself here to Britain. This line of questioning has gone on long enough. All the court should be concerned about in the testimony given by this witness are details relating to his relationship with Inspector Gregson and the victim's murder. In that case, as I've already made perfectly clear, I had no connection to the man or his death. And you have some means of substantiating this?
Mm-hmm. Alright, yeah. This is the part that's important.
Yeah. See, that was a lot. That was a lot that just came out of the pressing.
Alright, I'm also trying to save some time.
Objection.
Yes, as the court has heard, there is a crewman posted outside of Judge Jigoku's cabin. However, we can be sure that, contrary to the witness's claim, the guard wasn't there at all times.
What?
I have here a notice of a particular event that was scheduled to take place aboard the steamship on the 31st.
Wow. Where did you get that?
From the steamship, dipshit. It's evidence gathered by Mr. Herlock Sholmes. You were acquainted yesterday, if you remember.
Herlock Sholmes again?
Yeah, I don't like him either. Don't worry. According to this itinerary, after leaving the port of Dunkirk at exactly 10 p.m., and for a period of 20 minutes, all crewmen of the SS Grouse were to gather on deck for an evacuation drill.
All crewmen were away from their posts?
Why do you not know about this? During that 20-minute interval, of course, any gunshots emanating from your cabin would have been heard by no one.
Tell it, Ryukin.
In summary, Judge Jigoku, you had ample opportunity to commit the crime.
Objection.
A 20-minute window of opportunity? That's an excellent find, Yunosuke.
Thank you.
But it amounts to nothing.
Why not? Why?
Because the witness clearly stated in his testimony that no incident occurred in his cabin.
Oh, okay. So the guy who committed the murder said he didn't do it.
He said he didn't. Unless you have some decisive evidence that can show his testimony to be false. Show it. Show it. Your accusation is nothing more than conjecture. Pull out the evidence. Very true. Well, counsel?
Inspector Gregson was killed in Judge Jigoku's cabin that night. I'm certain of it. And the defense already has the evidence to prove it.
You will present the evidence for the defense at once, counsel.
Okay, we don't have the bullet hole, but we have this thing.
Yeah.
Alright, so what we're gonna do...
Yeah, save and
We're gonna
see.
save, and then I'm going
Are we
to
using
check...
the right logic?
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check the, check this guy. What do you think, Susato-san?
I feel sure I know exactly what will fit here.
Really? I was just thinking precisely the same thing. Good, because I was about to slap you for being stupid again.
We're about to see that the little round component is actually part of Inspector Gregson's broken pocket watch.
Really? I was just thinking precisely that too.
Whoop. Yeah.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! A perfect fit.
I knew it. Alright, perhaps you knew it.
I'll make a note of this new information at once. Yeah. Good job, Bippy. You rotate the evidence so well.
I rotate your evidence the best. Judge Jigoku, this was found in your cabin yesterday.
What is that? The crown of a pocket watch. A pocket watch?
And if you will observe, the victim's pocket watch, which we know he treasured, is missing precisely that part.
It can't be.
Moreover, the crown is a perfect fit on the spindle protruding from the victim's watch.
Exclamation mark.
Now, the fact is that this was retrieved from Judge Jigoku's cabin, tells us that the victim's watch almost certainly broke there. In other words, the victim was killed on the 31st during the 20-minute evacuation drill. In the cabin occupied by you, Judge Jigoku.
Take him down. Well, you're razor sharp, aren't you, you young murderer?
Shut up.
Objection.
Expertly maneuvered, Ryunosuke.
But...
And your argument sounds entirely plausible. At first. But rather like this pocket watch, it's full of cracks.
What?
And I believe Judge Jigoku feels the same way. I was wrong to acquit you earlier in the year.
But I was innocent, though. Sorry?
Yeah, sorry? If I'd known that it would result in anyone having to listen to this drivel, I would have declared you guilty just to spare the world your ridiculous bombast.
Shut the fuck up. I hate you so much.
Wow. I think it's clear that the witness will have to give further testimony.
No.
When you hear what actually happened in my cabin that night, you'll notice the pitfall into which you've stumbled. What? Prior to your renewed testimony, I would like to clarify one point. The fact that this part of the victim's watch was discovered in your cabin means that you acknowledge he was there, I presume. Yes, I do. Very well, then. You may proceed to give your formal testimony about what exactly happened in your cabin aboard the ship on the evening of the 31st October. Of course, as a man of the law, I have no intention of obstructing justice.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you fucking do.
That's the only thing you've been
That's
doing
your
this
middle
whole
name.
time. That's all you've been doing this
Judge
whole time.
Seishiro obstructing justice Jigoku. I had a guest waiting for me when I returned to my cabin after finishing my evening meal in the dining room. When I walked through the door, a mustachioed Englishman was there, foolishly waving a gun at me. I soon took care of him with an ippon seoi throw, though. He couldn't wait to run away after that. I imagine his watch was broken when I threw him over my shoulder. It has nothing to do with his murder. The inspector was clearly killed having returned to Britain because his body was found in London. God. Ippon seoi. A common jujutsu martial arts technique in my country. I was careful not to use too much force, but the man obviously landed too heavily for his watch to take. So, naruhodo, Ryunosuke. I imagine you can see the flaw in your logic now, can't you? What?
Hey, can we answer the question why you swung your sword at Gregson?
The fact that the pocket watch was broken in the witness's cabin in no way proves that the victim's murder took place there. I've no doubt the inspector intended to kill me. But he didn't manage to pull the trigger.
That's a lie.
Yes, because he was merely the tactician, not the Reaper's hand of death. Well, the testimony appears to make perfect sense as far as I can tell.
We don't even have...
Let me express my deep gratitude for your understanding, my lord.
We don't have any proof that there is a gun hole in the wall. Like, at all.
So, Jigoku forced Kazuma to sign up to assassinate Gregson. And then Kazuma went with Gregson as Gregson's assassin from the Reaper organization to kill Jigoku. Is that what everyone's saying?
And we have not even checked
We
this
never
damn thing.
figured out whose it is.
Like, we're like, we don't want to handle the gun. It's too handle.
It's too gunny.
Oh my god. All this shit is probably useless. Grrr. Alright, let's just press, I guess. But if this testimony holds, Judge Jigoku will deem to have no involvement in the case.
It's not gonna hold. Well, counsel, I really see no reason for wasting precious court time here on a cross-examination.
Shut up. I'm doing it anyway. Thank you, Tisha. Sorry, my lord. The defense has a right to cross-examine, and I don't intend to squander that. Also, like, why would I ever agree to that?
Yeah, I'm kidding. You're an embarrassment to your countrymen. Not knowing when you're beaten.
No, I know when I'm beaten. It's just I've been beaten harder than this before. And not by you, Kazuma.
In that case, proceed, Mr. Naruhodo.
Winks at Van Zeeks.
What?
Later.
Am I even still here?
Wink. Right, like this has gone so off the rails that Van Zeeks might as well not even be here. Alright, let's chat. Because the so-called guard posted at your cabin door had just let your killer pass, you mean?
Apparently, Gregson told the crewman he was a police inspector, which was the truth, of course.
He wouldn't have had his identification with him, though.
He had his trench coat and moustache, not to mention the bag of chips. I imagine the crewman was convinced.
Wow. But the man accompanying him would have had 2 swords slung around his waist.
You know, that's a good point there.
Right.
You mean me?
Yeah, you have 2 swords.
And no guns.
Who else? Who else? Who else?
Yes, that's true. You would have hoped the sight of a few swords might have set off alarm bells in the guard's head.
Can you at least let me have at least one of the guns? Or the swords. Can I have a sword, please?
The point is, I left the cabin before its occupant returned, and I immediately disembarked the ship. And yes, you can have this sword. It's not that important to me.
Thanks.
Certainly all I can tell you is that only the inspector was waiting for me when I arrived back in my cabin. And you entered without any inkling of suspicion. That's right. None whatsoever.
Hold it!
Obviously, you're talking about Inspector Gregson.
Who else? Yes, though at the time I didn't know the man's name. What? And there was no time for introductions. I value my life over manners.
By which you mean that the inspector was there to assassinate you, I suppose.
That was certainly the impression given by the gun pointing in my direction. But I've never seen the muzzle of a revolver shake about so much in all my life. Anyone would think the man had never shot somebody before.
Believe it or not, most of us haven't.
Poor Ryukin. Anyway, there was no time to call for the help of the crewman at the door, so I dealt with the man myself. Bonseoi.
Even though the man had a gun, that was a very brave move, wasn't it? Foolhardy, more like.
Ha ha! My Ipponseo is far faster than a bullet, I can assure you.
I can assure you it's not. I don't know how long ago you redeemed those, T-Chef, but I am sitting up and I have been drinking, but I will drink again.
I have also been drinking.
I appreciate it regardless.
Drinking quite considerably.
You are thoroughly sloshed over there, Van Zeeks.
Can I go to prison now?
Sure. Alright, I give up. We're not finding the truth today. Good job.
Works
Kazuma.
for me.
We're gonna go home. You're going to be executed for murder, Van Zeeks. Peace. Anyway, but surely all the commotion caused by the crewman caused the crewman to come in, didn't it?
Yes, of course. He burst in immediately without knocking. How rude. The inspector hurled himself at the stocky fellow and just managed to slip past him to make his escape.
The outstanding guard does it again.
Luckily, there aren't many situations I can't get out of using a quick Ipponseo throw.
Hold it!
The crown snapped off and the glass covering the face of the watch was cracked.
Preferable to the man's head being pulled off or his spine cracking, wouldn't you say? Not that the man was spared for long. A bullet to the chest soon saw to that. But the point is, the broken pocket watch doesn't prove that a murder took place. Absolutely not. All the watch proves is the power of my jujutsu throw.
Wherever you say it, doesn't quite ring true that no shot was fired in that cabin. Because there was an obvious bullet hole in the wall.
What are you talking about?
Huh?
That's what the star of your lowbrow detective stories told you, is it? Well, I don't care for such fiction.
Didn't take a picture of it?
Haven't you worked it out yet, you little stripling? Oh!
Excuse me?
Oh!
You don't get to call me a baby stripper.
That's only for me to call him.
No, you don't get to call me that either.
I came all the way to this closed trial just to enjoy that he called you a stripling, and then be angry because that is mine to call you.
Hey, Van Zeeks, do you still have that sword?
Yes.
Can you stab that guy?
No, but I could chop off his hair if that would help.
No!
Does he still have hair?
My hair!
Right.
My one last hair!
Can someone deport this man?
Bailiff!
Right.
Hold it!
But there's no evidence that proves the victim ever returned to London alive.
Just take a moment to think that idea of yours through now, stripling.
Stop. What?
If the inspector was killed on the steamship in France, How on earth could he have got back to Britain?
Well,
How
I
indeed?
can prove that. That's a good
Totally
question.
fucking prove that.
I can prove that.
When people die, their bodies remain at that same spot. It's a devil of a thing. Do they really, though?
Well, then obviously the culprit must have moved the body.
Exactly. How exactly?
I know.
We know exactly. Carrying a corpse off a ship in your arms would raise a few eyebrows at least, don't you think?
But what about in a suitcase? Well, yes, that's true, but
All passenger luggage is inspected when it is unloaded from arriving vessels. And I would like to think the border police would query the corpse of an English gentleman as hand luggage. If the murder had taken place aboard the ship, you would imagine the body would have been disposed of at sea. There would be no sense in risking being caught by attempting to transport the body back to Britain.
unless you were trying to frame someone else for it.
Unless you were trying to frame someone else for it.
Ugh. That's killed that idea then.
But perhaps not.
Susato-san?
We've heard that the first-class passengers were under constant scrutiny by the crewmen posted to guard them, which would mean that the culprit had no opportunity to dispose of the body in the sea.
Yes, that's true. So transporting the body to Britain may have been the only viable alternative.
Dear me, you really are new to this, aren't you? I thought I'd been perfectly clear, but it seems I'm going to have to explain it in words you can understand.
Me no kill.
I think I ought to alter my testimony. With your consent, of course, my lord. I have no objection. State your amended testimony now.
Oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. Well, I guess we're doing this. There's an idea.
Think about it, stripling. All passengers and crew disembarked at the same time and passed through the same checks at the border. The symposium guests were then driven straight to the hotel in carriages organized by the ministry. And we met you as soon as you arrived at the hotel, with a giant trunk. So you did, yes, you did meet me. What was that other part? Remind me, did I have a corpse over my shoulder at the time?
What? No.
So we're in agreement then. I couldn't possibly have brought the inspector's body back to Britain. Unless, of course, they've developed some clever device these days to instantly move things from A to B. Ha ha ha! Reference.
Funny you should say that.
Professor Hairbrain's invention didn't actually work, if you remember, Naruhodo-san.
Yes, of course.
Defense has become unusually quiet, I notice. Yes, because there's really nothing more to say.
So that's his story.
Well, I suppose if you think about it, whenever you drop a teacup in the office and it breaks, we don't say, Mr. Naruhodo must have been murdered there, do we?
Is that a veiled threat about what might happen to me if I break another one?
And the fact is that Inspector Gregson's body was found in the little room on Fresno Street. If he really was killed in Judge Jigoku's cabin,
The body would have had to have been moved somehow, obviously.
you know how.
Transporting a dead body over a country border would be impossible for a majority of people, so there must have been special circumstances about her.
That could be a vital realization, I think, Naruhodo-san.
Mind reading.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Save.
Save. How about, hey, how about this?
Objection.
There's no possible way you could have moved Inspector Gregson's body, you say? I would say the opposite is true.
And what's that supposed to mean?
It's supposed to mean that I think the opposite is true.
And what's that supposed to mean?
It's supposed to mean that far from being impossible for you to do, the transporting of Inspector Gregson's body back to Britain is something only you could do.
That's a Gyakuten. What are you talking about, Yunosuke?
As well as being a judge Mr. Jigoku is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs, which means he's exempt from having his luggage searched when he enters the country. We learned that when we first met you upon your arrival in London.
Ugh.
Unnecessary flashback time. I'm going to say unnecessary flashback things.
Unnecessary flashback. Yahaha.
I presume you recall this, Judge Jigoku. It's a photograph we took in the foyer of the hotel to mark the occasion. As the court will note, you have with you your large travel trunk.
Very large. You could put a lot of junk
Large
in
enough,
that.
in fact, to have a corpse inside.
Mr. Naruhodo, surely you're not suggesting.
I'm afraid I am, yes. 3 days ago, when we were chatting innocently with new arrivals from Japan in the hotel, body of Inspector Gregson was just meters away from us, inside Judge Jigoku's trunk.
Grr. Order, order. Order in court. I'm skeptical, counsel, that a grown man's body could fit inside even the largest travel trunk.
It could. Because I happen to know that the witness himself, a man of considerable size, fits inside this trunk. Also, I've done it. Verifying that would be extremely simple, wouldn't it, Judge Jigoku?
Oh my god, just make him crawl in.
But inside his trunk? How horrifying! No one would ever do such a thing!
And after we'd spoken with you at the Great Waterloo Hotel, you had the opportunity to visit the apparent scene on Fresno Street, taking your trunk with you in a cab to deposit the inspector's body.
I don't have to listen to this nonsense.
It had to have stunk to high heaven at that point, though.
Oh, God.
I mean, like, even if you did refrigerate it.
Seriously.
Dr. Gori, the coroner who examined the body, had confirmed the possibility. She's acknowledged that there are signs that steps may have been taken to disguise the true times of death. The onset of the body's decomposition could have been delayed by storing it in a refrigerator.
Counsel, as I remember explaining yesterday, refrigerators of the requisite size are few and far between, except for on steamships.
Yes, I'm sure they are, but one place they're certainly found is on large ocean liners. Such ships are equipped with electrically refrigerated cold rooms to keep food fresh on their long sea voyages. And the SS Grouse is no exception. Professor Mikotoba told me about it only yesterday. Well, Judge Jigoku? However much you prolong this debate, you can't eliminate the truth. All the evidence points to you being the killer.
Ha 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 ha. Well, this is all very heartening. I can see that it was a wise move letting Asogi and you embark on this study tour.
You only sent him. I came along just for funsies.
What are you talking about now? Logical reasoning, of course. All court proceedings will be built on logical reasoning in the new century.
How about forensic evidence?
And I can see that you've both laid firm foundations for that already.
Judge Jigoku, please stop diverting attention from the issue at hand. The defense has made an accusation against you. How do you respond?
A true villain line. Exactly.
Respond? There's really no need for me to respond, is there?
There is.
There is.
There's lots of reasons.
Why ever not?
Because before you can even begin to answer the question of when the victim was killed, you must first establish one key fact. Where was the victim killed? It's quite logical.
The actual scene of the crime? We already talked about that.
The prosecution's stance is unaltered. The killing took place on Fresno Street when the gunshot was heard.
Kazuma,
as the accused Beric Van Zeek shot the victim at point-blank range. Since no tangible evidence exists to disprove the prosecution's claim at this time, the defense's deductions amount to little more than an elaborate fairy tale. I'm afraid that's how the logical reasoning the British are known for really works, young stripling.
The victim was shot in that little room on Fresno Street and died instantly. I'm afraid it's the prosecution's claim that's the only fairy tale here.
How can you say that?
Quite simply. Because the claim directly contradicts a certain piece of evidence in our possession.
Ooh. Very tantalizing, counsel. I think you had better explain yourself to the court, don't you?
Prosecution claims that Inspector Gregson died instantly when he was shot at the scene on Fresno Street. But this evidence clearly contradicts that claim. Hold on. I mean, we could talk about the autopsy report that says inconclusive, but... That's all I can think of.
Yeah, I see the updated autopsy. Okay, measures may take, and then...
But it says indeterminate.
It does say indeterminate. But
Oh, are we talking about this thing?
the blood on the trunk?
Maybe?
And it was removed from
From the crime scene.
the crime scene with blood on it.
Yeah.
It was removed from the Fresno Street crime scene.
Yeah.
But Kazuma's blade was in it, suggesting that it actually had to have been...
So, well, I don't know. I don't know.
Like, the chest has Kazuma's blade in it, so if Kazuma was on the steamship and then he left, well, then he couldn't have showed up to later come find this place on Fresno Street and stab the trunk with Gregson's blood on it.
Well,
I guess.
No, okay, that's not what it is.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna just, I know I already saved, but I'm gonna save again just to make sure that I saved. And then I'm just gonna start presenting the only things that it could be, because I'm not actually sure where his logic is going.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with the trunk,
Take that!
and I'm gonna go to the autopsy report. No.
Nope. Okay. Can you see the history?
Alright.
Can you see what they said? I think Cosmo is just parroting Van Zeeks to be funny,
Alright.
but it's not a good time for that.
Okay, thank you. Okay. This is another... no, not Clint's.
The other autopsy report. Yeah, okay.
Take that!
Nope, it's not that one.
It's not that.
Okay, so... Because I'm brained out right now.
But
Okay, can I look at this again? Can we talk about this again? Okay, so there's nothing about that.
So we're trying to contradict. The prosecution claims that Gregson died instantly when he was shot at the scene on Fresno Street, and it's not the autopsy report.
Is it this? Oh,
God, okay.
okay. Well, I don't know what that's about, so we're gonna go ahead and load that up. I'm like, there's only like a handful of things that were found at the scene in general, so it has to be one of those. But I can't brain right now.
A photograph of the victim in the very location you claim he wasn't killed.
Yes, but the point is the posture of the body. Oh yeah, okay, that's fair. That is fair. I had considered that.
Yeah. Exclamation mark?
If Inspector Gregson had been shot there in that room, it's out of the question his body would have been curled up in a ball like that. That's fair.
That is fair.
That is fair.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but your logic is flawed. He could easily have adopted that fetal position due to the pain of the shot, which subsequently proved fatal.
You know, when he was killed instantly?
Objection.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Judge Jigoku, but it's your logic that's flawed.
Yeah, what?
According to this autopsy report, the victim died instantly. He would have felt no pain, much less have been able to draw himself into that position.
Ah!
Which begets the question of why the victim's body is curled up in that way.
He was dumped out of a trunk.
Though the answer should be abundantly clear by now.
You're suggesting...
The inspector's body took that posture ahead of its arrival in Fresno Street, before it was coldly turned out onto the floor from inside the large travel trunk.
No!
You're quite right. The shape of the body. It looks exactly as if it had been kept in a confined space.
I can't confirm this from on stream, but I do remember telling people that this is one of the things that made me suspect was the fetal position. I really just, like, wasn't expecting this to be the argument that we make with this very second. Anyway, Judge Jigoku, present your trunk for examination.
Hello, Tyrannosaurus West.
West, hi! I believe it's very possible that it will contain traces of the victim's blood.
Ah! Oh. You mad? Present my trunk? I refuse. There's no junk in it.
Right? What a lewd thing to ask of me.
I don't twerk anymore. What?
Look,
You stopped twerking, Judge Jigoku?
since when? You were so good in twerking class. Also, yes, Kazuma, I'm the one asking people to present their trunks now. On what grounds?
On the grounds that, fuck you.
On this ground.
I'm the Minister of Foreign Affairs from the Empire of Japan.
Who gives a shit?
I shouldn't have to put up with this treatment just because of some stripling's baseless accusations.
In other words, Judge Shigoku, there is blood in your trunk.
Get him, Sasato. I decline to answer that. As the Minister of Foreign Affairs, I have privileges that allow me to...
Objection.
You stand accused of murder. At this moment, you are not a government minister. You're a witness in a trial in Britain's highest court. I don't care who you are or what your status outside of this courtroom may be. You will not withhold information. Nothing is more important than the truth.
Screen cap. Order! Order in court! Well, Mr. Jigoku, what's it to be?
See, here's the thing, is that if he ends up getting convicted for this, Cosmo absolutely will not accept it. He's like, no, what about the Reaper?
You can't be serious. You did it? Have you no shame at all? Kazuma Sogi? What? Very well. I admit it. I did bring the inspector's body into the country.
He's gonna accuse Cosmo of doing it.
Inside my trunk, exactly as postulated by the defense.
He's gonna throw Cosmo under the bus.
He's gonna...
What?
Dear God, outrageous!
So it was you. You admit to Inspector Gregson's murder.
Yeah. I admit to nothing more than what I've said. Of killing the man, I certainly have no recollection. What on earth is that cryptic statement supposed to mean? I merely disposed of the inspector's body, which was left in my cabin, in order to avoid unwanted attention. As the judicial assistant over there pointed out, I had no chance to throw it into the ocean. So, I decided my only option was to bring it into Britain with me and dispose of it somewhere else.
You can't still deny it. If you didn't do it, then who on earth did kill? Don't ask that question.
No, you can know. As you know, there was one other person in my cabin that night. He had the opportunity. And moreover, he'd already accepted a mission to take the inspector's life.
Oh!
That's right! Who else could it have been? It was you, Kazuma Asogi. You. I never thought you'd stoop to this, Seishiro Jigoku. You've taken the words straight out of my mouth, Prosecutor Asogi Kazuma. You thought by leaving the body in my cabin you could pin the crime on me, did you?
He tried to pin it on the fucking Reaper. Are you kidding?
What?
What?
Well, the prosecution counsel has already admitted to visiting the witness's cabin on the night in question.
Why would he do that, though?
Why would he do that?
How's life been? It's been stressful. Right now, we're in the middle of a thing.
Yeah.
Being stressed.
Yes, on an assassination mission, no less. You wouldn't! So, what do you make of that, young stripling? You've heard my testimony now, and that's all I have to say on the matter. I'll admit to nothing more, says someone who's very, very guilty.
I don't believe this, because it's not believable.
Counsel for the defense. What is your position now?
I'm still a... Oh, no, I'm a switch. Shit. Anyway.
The court awaits your response to the witness's assertion. The assertion that on the night in question, the victim's assailant was in fact Mr. Kazuma Asogi.
This isn't the dead end it seems to be. The answer's right in front of me. It comes down to Jigoku or Kazuma.
Aww.
Both of them had the opportunity to kill Gregson, but only one of them did it. And I'm just a step away from proving who. Very well, the defense is ready to respond to the assertion put forward by Judge Jigoku. Impossible. Impossible.
Impossible.
Why? Because he has 2 swords, no gun, 1 kill. Wait,
no
shit.
kill.
No kill.
No kill.
No kill. Impossible. Judge Jigoku, let me remind you of something you said only a few minutes ago. You claimed that the logical reasoning is the future of the judicial process. Just, to get you off track for a little bit.
It is no question.
Well, logical reasoning can prove something here. Why would he kill him with a gun? Namely, that it would have been impossible for Prosecutor Asogi to commit the crime.
What? Mad. The court will only accept an argument that is supported by compelling evidence. So present what you have, counsel. What proof is there that allegedly demonstrates the impossibility of Prosecutor Asogi's involvement?
I mean, I think it's either the trunk or the fucking sword.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hello, he's got a sword, why would he use a gun?
Yeah. Why would he use a gun when like, a gunshot would alert the crew? You stab someone with a sword, no one knows.
Right. Which one do we do? Trunk or the sword?
I'm leaning sword.
I'll go sword.
Take that!
You're making the evidence weep here, Naruhodo Ryunosuke.
Sorry?
Aw. Every piece of evidence has a role to play in arriving at the truth. They're not playthings you can toss around the courtroom for entertainment. Hands off my sword.
Okay.
All right.
Fine. I won't touch your sword.
It was the trunk?
Aww.
Wait, what did
Hold
you
on,
just
hold
say?
on. Yeah, I
know.
was on sentry duty. Fire a shot. Nearest time when the crime would have been committed. It'll take 20 minutes, I guess. Would it be this?
Take that!
Wait,
Oh, okay.
That
That doesn't make any fucking sense.
I don't see why.
Well, because he, like, presumably, Kazuma left the ship. I guess.
Okay. I don't get it.
I don't get it.
I do not get it.
Take that!
The itinerary for the crew members of the SS Grouse, my lord. This is conclusive proof.
What? An itinerary? How does that prove anything?
Judge Jigoku, the moment you acknowledged that you found the victim's body in your cabin, this itinerary suddenly became much more significant.
Did it? Wow. What?
Well,
Why?
he had to put it in the fridge.
That's right. That's right.
On the night in question, as always, a crewman sentry was on guard outside your cabin door.
Uh-huh.
As long as he was there, nobody could have fired a shot inside the cabin.
Very true. Absolutely, because it's inconceivable that the guard wouldn't have heard it and come to investigate.
So that tells us that the crime must have taken place when the guard was elsewhere. And that narrows it down to the 20 minutes just after 10 o'clock, as indicated by on the itinerary.
Yes, I see no flaw in your reasoning so far.
But the crucial point is this: when the evacuation drill took place, the steamship had already put to sea from port. Oh, yeah, that's the one. It had already left, so Kazuma was not on the steamship at the time.
Ah.
Now, clearly the murder could have only have been committed by someone who was aboard the vessel at the time. But Prosecutor Sogi stated in yesterday's proceedings...
But, yeah, it's just something he stated, though. I mean, I agree, but, like...
But he would have... The thing is that he would have had to disembark as well. And have been searched.
Yeah, that's right. He couldn't...
It's easily provable that he did leave.
Yeah, I got it. I get it. Yeah, okay. I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life. So I left Gregson and I disembarked the ship. I spent that night at a boarding house in the town and returned to England the following morning.
Right, yeah, he has a signature in the boarding house.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm sure the court will agree is conclusive proof that Kazuma Sogi couldn't possibly have carried out the killing.
Gah!
Also, he has 2 swords.
No, absolutely not. I don't accept that at all.
You don't have to accept anything. What do you mean?
The boy's just saying that to exonerate himself. We can't trust that he really disembarked the vessel.
You weren't there when he says that his signature was actually at a boarding house.
Obviously, after he left my cabin, he hid himself somewhere nearby on the ship. Just waiting for his chance to come back and finish the...
No, that's out of the question. Isn't it, Kazuma?
Oh. As the defense rightly recalls, I disembarked the vessel and spent the night in a boarding house in Dunkirk. He's got witnesses. And as I said yesterday, I signed my name in the accommodations register book. All extremely easy to verify, and undeniable proof.
There's no escape this time. You can forget that you're a judge or a government minister. It's time you gave the court an honest answer as a common man.
Oh. Ho 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 ho!
You killed Inspector Tobias Gregson and transported his corpse back to Britain. And then you dumped the body in the room on Fresno Street and made it look as if the murder had happened there. That's what really happened, isn't it, Seishiro Jigoku?
Ugh. was that damn trial 10 years ago. That's when all this began. Looking back now, my fate was decided that day. I was doomed already. Ah!
Excuse us? Hello?
That's what he did 10 years ago. Ah, it's over! My life is over!
Why did it rise to the ceiling? Hello? British assassin to eliminate a professor in Japan. A Japanese assassin to eliminate a detective in Britain. Both assassins will use diplomatic immunity to evade conviction and return safely to their homelands.
The assassin exchange request arrived from Britain about 1 year ago. Though it was hardly a request, it was a demand.
And for that, you decided to recruit Mr. Asogi. But things didn't go according to plan. Your chosen assassin never made it to Britain. And you found yourself unable to dispatch a replacement. Because I was already on my way to Britain at the time, in Cosmo's place.
And that left me with only one option for carrying out my obligation. Do it myself.
Do it yourself.
To eliminate the mark myself, personally. Of course, there was but a single opportunity for me to do that.
The International Forensic Science Symposium, I presume.
Oh my fucking god. That's right. I decided it would be safest to carry out the plan before my arrival in Britain. So I enlisted the help of my British counterpart and made arrangements for a pretext that would take the inspector to Dunkirk. To lure the man in, he was given a sham mission by the Reaper.
What? The Reaper?
But there's only one person who could have done that. The mastermind of the entire operation. The Reaper himself.
So, that means that the assassin exchange was... It was all planned by the Reaper?
You're wrong.
I'm not at liberty to say anything about my British counterpart.
After a point,
You
when
know,
are you...
Anyway, the inspector accepted the Reaper's mission and dutifully infiltrated my cabin on the steamship. But it was all a trap designed to lead him to France and his own death.
Oh, how awful.
Thank you, Wolfie.
It was past 9 o'clock when I returned to my cabin from the dining hall that evening. I didn't give him time to attack me. I choked him until he lost consciousness. But there was a guard just outside the door, so I left it at that for the time being. Even the slightest noise might have aroused suspicion, so I bided my time, waiting.
For the 20 minutes after 10 o'clock.
I had intended to finish him by strangulation, but moments before I had the chance, he suddenly came round and went for me in a reckless move. I'd received the British issue gun 16 years earlier, being a member of the judiciary as a visiting student. I never imagined I'd have to use it for something like that. Thanks for tying up that mystery. So the revolver belongs to you, does it?
Then the victim was killed inside your cabin on the SS Grouse. Which begs the question of why you arranged for his body to be discovered in the room on Fresno Street.
The young judicial assistant over there has already answered that question. There was no way I could take the body up on deck to throw it over the side. That's precisely where all the crewmen were gathered for the evacuation drill. So, before the first-class cabin sentries returned, I took the corpse to the refrigeration room.
And then on arriving in Dover, you concealed the body in your trunk to smuggle it past the border police.
I knew I needed to take steps if the police were to be convinced when the body was found in London. In that case, you must have known. You must have had intimate details of Inspector Gregson's intended schedule. Yes, my British counterpart sent me everything I needed to know. The inspector was due at Fresno Street at 5 o'clock that afternoon in order to meet a man by the name of Huge Bone, from whom he would take back his police identification. I decided that man would be the perfect person to set up as the culprit. So I took a hackney carriage over there with the body still in my trunk.
That must have been just after we took this photograph with you at the hotel, then.
Yes. I wasn't expecting a welcoming committee. I was more than a little nervous. On Fresno Street, I spotted a young girl selling little firecrackers.
Miss Venus, of course.
I conceived of the candle trick there and then. So I donned a simple disguise and approached the girl to buy enough firecrackers to replicate a gunshot. What sort of disguise?
Not relevant, really.
For some reason, the inspector had a bright red hairpiece in his own traveling case. So I put that on, although I suspect I drew more attention to myself in that than I would have otherwise.
The hairpiece we found at the scene? The inspector had it ready for the Red-Headed League investigation. I can't believe it's actually relevant.
I only arrived at the room at around 4:45. So I quickly placed the body on the floor, moved the notice board, and set up my little candle trick. I arranged it so the firecrackers would go off with a bang around 15 minutes later. So that Mr. Boone, who was due to arrive at 5, would walk straight into a trap. Except, at the last moment, I made a careless blunder.
What was that?
I imagine it was the bag of fish and chips.
I didn't notice that it had fallen out of his overcoat pocket when I moved the body to the refrigeration room. I put it back into his pocket the following morning, but, well, it seems the warmth of the heated cabin had accelerated the decay of the fish. Anyway, that's everything. All the sordid details of what I did.
Okay, cool. Cosmo's not gonna be too happy about that one.
No. I've heard enough. We've arrived at the truth about the murder of one of the country's most capable and respected police inspectors. The witness will be tried in the coming days. For a crime of such a vile nature, you can expect the most severe penalty.
I want to defend you, Goku.
An exchange of assassins? What a foolhardy idea.
Oh wait, maybe we're gonna
defend Cosmo?
defend Kazuma.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. G Goku, one last detail. Who is your counterpart in Britain? Who is the mastermind behind the assassin exchange? Nothing you say now can make matters worse for you. You could just tell us.
Just tell us. Enough! I've already told you that I cannot say.
You're gonna be fucking executed regardless.
Even though as things stand, you may very well never set foot in your homeland
What do you
again.
mean very well? He's gonna be executed, obviously.
Oh my god, why the fuck? What are you waiting for? Can't we get this over with now? It's finished. All of it. I'm finished. Then, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I now pronounce the findings of this court. This man before us has admitted to the willful murder of Tobias Gregson.
Huh? What?
Huh? Seishiro Jigoku.
Okay.
Yeah, it is the opinion of this court that you should be found.
Okay, but the trial was for...
And may I remind all those present of the strict confidentiality demanded by this closed court. Are you gonna rule on Van Zeeks, though? Van Zeeks? Hello? Hello? Van Zeeks? Moments ago, Mr. Jigoku signed a written confession, admitting to the murder of Inspector Gregson and the subsequent conveyance of the body. In short, the defendant's innocence has therefore been established beyond doubt.
There we go. I was a little worried there for a second.
Okay. Oh, wonderful. Well done, Mr. Naruhodo.
I'm not happy about this, really. Yeah, thank you.
Uh-huh. Is something wrong? Is
So much is wrong. I'm just a little troubled.
Just a little troubled.
A little tiny bit, teensy, little bit troubled by his silence.
The true identity of the Reaper of the Bailey and this extraordinary assassin exchange. We do remain in the dark about these mysteries. However,
who fucking cares?
Insofar as the indictment brought against the defendant in this trial, we have reached a conclusion. I have every intention of pursuing both mysteries as a prosecutor. As you wish. Now, for the formal adjudication. I hereby declare the defendant, Beric Van Zeeks.
Objection.
Don't do it.
Stop
Cosima,
this.
no!
Stop this.
Prosecution calls for adjudication to be deferred.
Stop it.
Cosima? Counsel? The accused's innocence hasn't been fully established at all. Cosima!
For this case, it has.
This case it has! And therefore, it would be wrong to deliver a verdict at this time.
Cosima.
Cosima? That is the prosecution's unwavering position. Cosima?
What?
Cosima? But Judge Jigoku has already confessed! Nevertheless, Beric Van Zeeks has committed crimes for which he must be punished.
But not this crime!
He's desperate because he knows that he is going to be on trial the next day and he thinks this is his only chance. It would appear you have information that the court needs to hear, Prosecutor Asogi. Certainly, the murder of Inspector Gregson was actually carried out by Seishiro Jigoku. But it's clear from the witness's testimony that he was coerced into complying with the plot. Into this sick, merciless assassin exchange.
That may be true, but...
So what I want to know is, who coerced Jigoku? Who was pulling the strings? Ugh. The victim went to France having been ordered on a mission for the Reaper, only to be murdered. In other words, the mastermind behind the assassin exchange is someone in a position to give such an order. As we've already established, the Reaper himself. Well, certainly, that would appear to follow. The prosecution hereby formally accuses the man in the dock, Beric Van Zeeks, of being the Reaper of the Bailey, and furthermore, I'm going to prove his guilt beyond all reasonable doubt.
What?
What, Cosimo, what? Order! 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 The Reaper of the Bailey is a long-standing mystery, Counsel. Are you suggesting you have some new information with which to build a case?
Evidence, please?
Scotland Yard has already investigated Lord Van Zeeks very thoroughly in that regard.
and they found no evidence whatsoever to substantiate the claim that he is the Reaper.
Perhaps, but circumstances have now changed.
What do you mean?
It's already been established that the assassin exchange was negotiated with Shigoku by the Reaper himself, which means we now have a new line of questioning by which to identify definitively the man's identity.
Benzeeks looks so pained. He does, because it's like this is followed him his entire career. This Reaper business. And now this guy, the fucking ghost of the guy whom betrayed him so thoroughly, so he believes, is making sure it bites him in the ass. That fucking sucks, man. He's gotta be... This poor man.
Yeah. That is the prosecution's intention here.
No, your intention is revenge.
I must say I'm surprised by quite how tenaciously you appear to want to besmirch my name. You are guilty of an unforgivable crime, Lord Benzeeks. And I will bring you to justice for it, whatever it takes.
Being gorgeous. And laying your hands on my man. That explains Cosmo's silence before. He'll stop at nothing to finish what Lord Benzeeks unwittingly started 10 years ago.
Very well. Whilst it's extremely irregular, I will on this occasion grant the prosecution further opportunity for witness testimony. The defendant will disclose any and all involvement he has had with the Reaper and the assassin exchange. I thank you, my lord, for guiding the court so wisely. I hereby declare this court to be in session for a supplementary hearing. Oh, supplementary hearing. That's exactly like what happened with Jigoku and Benzeeks. Oh my god. Pray turn a blind eye to the discourtesy as I verify that this vile and unremitting accusation hasn't soured the contents of my hallowed chalice.
Lord Benzeeks.
I first had to suffer the pseudonym of the Reaper 10 years ago now, and ever since that time I've endured the weight of implied guilt that's gone with it. So I welcome the chance to testify now and crush those allegations once and for all. Good. Then let justice decide, Lord Benzeeks. The prosecution seeks to begin building its case by calling the accused to the stand as the primary witness, in order that he may answer the accusation brought by the prosecution that he is the Reaper of the Bailey. And what says the defense?
Putting the defendant in the witness stand can be extremely dangerous. And Kazuma-sama is so emotional at the moment, he's not thinking logically.
You're right that he's not himself. But I knew it would be like this. And I came here today determined to face him through whatever might arise. As a lawyer and as his friend.
And that's what we must do.
The defense has no objection, my lord.
Very well. Defendant, you will take the witness stand and give formal testimony on the subject of your involvement with the Reaper and the assassin exchange. As you wish, my lord.
Okay. In a BRB.
Ugh.
We're gonna do a BRB. I've got to pee and get more water.
Oh boy.
Boy, we're having emotions today, guys. Isn't it fun to have emotions?
Oh god, my voice.
Okay, we'll be back. I'm so sorry, sweetie. I'm sorry that you're everybody in this courtroom.
I'm everyone in here.
Get yourself a nice big water. Hoi, 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 hoi.
We're back.
We are back.
Okay. So, here's where I think Cosmo's head is right now. He has known about this for years, that his just and upstanding father was apparently seen to be a murderer.
I'm going to be moving again, baby.
Okay. And that he was executed for it.
Right.
And he lost his father. His mother died from grief. And he's been determined for all this time to do anything it takes to go to Great Britain and find out what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, to the point that Jigoku's like, you need to agree to kill a man when you're there. And he's like, okay, I'll say whatever it takes.
Yeah,
to
sure,
send
whatever.
Me.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes to send me, sure, fine. I'll figure it out later. I just need to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So he then tries to get there and then instead ends up in like Hong Kong and then being a deckhand on a cargo ship with no fucking idea what the deal is. And then when he suddenly awakens, he's been working under Van Zieks for multiple months, and he has a very brief window to get to the bottom of everything, and he's just been through a trial that has revealed a whole bunch of shit to him. And so he's seized onto this idea that, like, regardless of everything else, this is the man who put his father to death. So it doesn't matter, nothing else matters except he has to see justice for this somehow. So he's desperate to do it.
But like we know that this is not the man.
Yes, we know. So then we've got Ryukun, who knows that Van Zieks is not the person that Cosmo thinks he is.
Mm-hmm.
He also, it's been made very clear that something was very, very wrong about that trial 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Something was very, very wrong. And Van Zieks genuinely believed in the evidence that he had at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So Gregson was the one who made sure that autopsy would happen.
Right.
So what the fuck with Gregson? Also, he's actually dead. He's verified dead now. Sorry, Gina and Toby. All right, okay. And just...
Myrrh.
I'm very myrrh. You have enough cables?
Yeah, I just
Okay.
want to make sure that I don't tug on this too much.
Okay. All right. I've never taken the life of another, nor have I instructed another to kill. I've been investigating the truth behind the Reaper for years, and I was aware of Gregson's involvement. That's the reason why I went to Fresno Street that day and how I came to discover the body. The point is, no common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson. What? Why are you suddenly talking about Dr. Wilson? Huh?
Yeah, that was weird.
Is it because it came up on the note before? Clearly, therefore, there's no reason to suspect me of being behind the assassin exchange. Why not mention
Oh,
she?
yeah, he mentioned
like
the...
talking about from the telegram.
Well, yeah, the victims.
Yes, the victims. The victims. Okay, yeah. Makes sense. Okay.
Okay, we're gonna press you, obviously.
Obviously. So you deny all accusations by the prosecution? Both that you are the Reaper of the Bailey, and that you masterminded the assassin exchange? I acknowledge that the public at large believe me to be the Reaper. However, that's a fallacy which I alone am in a position to forswear. Naturally, the prosecution believes the testimony just given by the accused to be untrue. Naruhodo Ryunosuke.
Yes.
Let me ask you. Why are you here? What really brings you to this courtroom?
Well, you shoved me in a trunk. And then
Since
you
then.
died.
Yes,
And then I had to take your place.
there was that.
And then I was lied to and fucked over by a detective.
Tell me more about that later.
Okay, yeah. And then I've kind of been dragged along into a series of cases in which I have had to, you know, really, really stretch my capabilities, and also was privy to many, many, many government secrets. And I'm here because the man that you accused is innocent. You fucking dipshit. But mostly because you shoved me into a trunk that one time. So you're welcome.
Mic drop.
Yeah. And Cosmo was like,
why are you here, Ryukun?
It's a good fucking question. Why
Yeah.
did you put me in a trunk? Hello?
Why am I here?
I desire to uncover the truth.
Even if the truth proves your client to be guilty?
Yeah, I've done it before.
That's his thinking face.
From all my experiences in this courtroom, I've come to realize something. I hate being a lawyer. This is the worst. The truth can't be hidden. Sooner or later, it will come out. Just like me. And you. But you weren't really, like, closeted at all.
Not really.
And neither was Venzik, so
Definitely
it
not.
really has to be me.
It's you.
I'm bi. I'm coming out as bi. I'm not gay. I am bi.
Wait, what?
I'm bi. I did sleep with multiple juror number 2s.
Cosmo vibrates.
You weren't there. It's your fault. You shoved me into a fucking trunk. It all comes back to that Kazuma. So it's always my intention to work with my client in the pursuit of truth.
I want you to remember what you just said.
Yeah, I want you to remember it too.
Enough dilatory chatter and flirting. Counsel for the defense, proceed to cross-examine the witness.
Yes, my lord. I know exactly what you're thinking, Kazuma. But you're wrong. I know you're just waiting to point it out. The contradiction you're convinced lies somewhere within this man's testimony. I mean, I know what it is. Because it's a fucking autopsy report. But I want to talk. Let's chat with Benzik. Hi, baby.
Banjiksa-chan.
Banjiksa-chan.
Not right now.
Why not right now?
We're in a court of law.
We've been in a court of law this whole time.
Yes, and it's quite disturbing. Why do you think I drink so much?
Because you're Lord Van Zeeks?
I've sobered up too much for this testimony.
So you're not what the general public refer to as the infamous Reaper of the Bailey?
Exactly. Don't imagine for a moment that the court will be satisfied with a one-word answer on this. I realize that.
If you're intending to comment on every sentence, this could take a while, Kazuma.
He only just started and Ryukun's already like...
Right! Didn't you find it disturbing, though? That one by one defendants who'd been acquitted after your unsuccessful prosecution were killed?
Let me answer that question by posing another. If, one by one, defendants who'd been acquitted after your successful defense were killed, would you find that disturbing?
Disturbing? I couldn't possibly say how that could make me feel with a one-word answer like that.
Exactly.
Well, that told me.
But even though I'm not the Reaper, that doesn't mean I ignored all the hearsay.
Hold it!
You say for years. How long exactly?
10. Since the very first time the Reaper's influence is felt in this courtroom. 10 years ago now.
And your investigations led you somehow to Inspector Gregson, you're saying?
I didn't want to believe it. It was a personal acquaintance. We'd worked on cases together in the past.
Friend, even.
Oh, Jukes had a friend.
It felt like a betrayal, but I demanded permission to search his office at the yard without his knowledge. Which is when you found his secret notebook, is it? It's when I first learned of the location he'd noted only as grouse and the appointment as 5 p.m. on the 31st. Though I didn't know the significance of those details at the time.
So now we're at the nub of the matter.
The nub. As it turns out, the significance for me personally was very unfortunate.
Hold it!
But why did you go to that specific location?
I thought that if it was the Reaper's headquarters, then by turning up there at 5 o'clock I would catch whoever was involved red-handed, or red-haired as the case may be. Sadly, all that was awaiting me was the inspector's corpse.
Yes, even though it wasn't designed for you, you walked straight into the trap set by Jigoku.
Exactly. Jigoku had intended to implicate Hugh Boone, I'm going to say.
Huge bone.
But unhappily for me, I arrived at the scene. Yeah, I'm okay. Ha! A ridiculously careless blunder.
Moved on to just throwing insults around, I see then, Kazuma.
Think what you will, it doesn't change the truth.
Okay, well this is obviously the lie, but
Hold it!
yeah. There's a link between you and Gregson, though.
Of course, we were close acquaintances. We'd worked on numerous cases together. I considered the man to be a mentor of sorts. He taught me a number of important lessons.
He did? Such as what?
How
Fuck
to
you.
Get down on the floor. No.
He taught me his moves.
He taught
on
me
the floor.
the deliciousness of fish and chips. Where to
Oh my god.
Craig's senior spirit is still with us.
Yeah.
Where to buy good fish and chips and such like.
Well, that was convincing.
Dr. Wilson was a coroner, of course, but that was some time in the past. And in any case, I understand it was several years ago now that he was invited to work at a Japanese university.
That's right. He was a visiting professor at Imperial Yume University in Tokyo.
It should be unambiguously clear, then, that no link exists between myself and him. In other words, I had no motive for sending some assassin across the oceans to kill the man.
Sounds plausible enough, and I want to believe it. Something about this just doesn't sit right with me.
Ah, thanks, Iris.
Press it
I
anyway.
mean, yeah, might as well. Oh, sorry, hello.
Just to chat with Benzique's a little
Looking at my armband. Clearly, as it stands, there's no evidence to suggest that you concocted the scheme.
Objection!
But as it stands, we have only the accused's insistence of his innocence.
You were the one who asked for the fucking cross-examination, my dude. Sorry?
Perhaps there is some reason that would explain why he masterminded the assassin exchange. And if a reason could be established later in these proceedings, then the accused's claim in this testimony that he wasn't involved would amount to perjury. Can I get the history on that? Okay. Kazuma.
Why are you being such a butt? Well, that's true, but...
Clearly, Kazuma-sama intends to identify a reason and use it to make his case.
So if we don't identify something first,
He'll gain the advantage.
this could be dangerous.
It's definitely dangerous.
Yeah, 100%.
Man still has one sword.
Convincing testimony by Lord Van Zeeks.
Certainly, with no apparent connection between the three men, there is no way to establish a motive. If we only had some way to connect them. If only. If only.
Only.
If only. The testimony seems unassailable as far as I can see. Oh, dear me. What a bleak expression.
It's very assailable. I agree there doesn't appear to be any particular link between them at first glance, but with the inclusion of one other person... Must be overthinking it, surely.
Another person, Mr. Naruhodo.
I need to think back over all the information we've gleaned so far.
All right, and I'll review my notes about the case and all the evidence in the court record.
Okay,
Well,
saving.
Here we go. Here we go, Benzie.
We're saving, boys!
We're going down this path now. Can't turn back. Oh,
Alright.
boy. Here we go.
So... It's Clint's autopsy.
It's Clint's autopsy report. Yup. Yeah. And Gregson's right in there.
Objection.
What is this? An autopsy report? Wait, this is 10 years old. From the autopsy of Lord Clint Van Zeeks. What? My brother's autopsy report?
Happy birthday. I brought it to the trial.
I'm pleased to see the defense doesn't intend to run from the undeniable truth.
Hey, did you want to read your brother's autopsy report? No? Not a good... Okay.
Order in court. What reason do you have for presenting a 10-year-old autopsy report here, counsel?
Do I really have to spell it out?
The autopsy report of the professor's final victim was an indelible link between Inspector Gregson, Dr. Wilson, and the defendant.
Not that accursed name again, Professor. I've personally researched all of the court records relating to that case.
Oh, please give them. Can I have them, please?
I know that at the time, autopsy was considered sacrilege to the victims' souls. And for a member of the aristocracy like Lord Clint Van Zeeks, it was unthinkable. But someone implored the powers that be to allow the autopsy to go ahead. Inspector Gregson. He declared that he was certain he would obtain conclusive proof from the procedure.
And it was Dr. Wilson who conducted the autopsy. His signature is clearly visible on the document.
As promised by Gregson, the autopsy did indeed produce evidence. Evidence that conclusively proved Genshin Asogi was guilty of the murders. In my brother's dying moments, he mustered all his remaining strength to leave that vital clue behind.
It was a gallstone.
He swallowed a note that said Genshin did it. It was the
Right.
Genshin impact in his stomach.
You know what? Of everybody in this entire, game, the person who's had the biggest Genshin impact is Kazuma. Genshin has impacted him more than anyone else.
Genshin has impacted my entire life.
He is the biggest Genshin impact of them all.
He's gonna be next for the banner.
Indeed, that was the key to indicting the professor for his crimes and the conclusive evidence that convicted him.
Kazuma's about ready to whip his sword out and jump over that bench.
Mm-hmm.
It enabled Lord Van Zeeks here to avenge his brother's senseless death with a marvelous victory in court.
You're gonna strut that around in front of Kazuma, huh? Just remember, he's still got one sword.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Benji.
I mean, Kazuma still has two swords.
Well, one of them's in evidence right now.
Well, that's true. We still have the one. Oh yeah, the other one's not on his model anymore.
Yeah, no, they took it off him.
What an attention to detail.
A marvelous victory, was it? I wonder if that's really true. What? Could the same be said if it turned out that the key piece of evidence in question was in fact fabricated? If the inspector, the coroner, and the prosecutor all colluded together to cast an innocent Japanese man as a mass murderer and send him to his death, that's outrageous. And now, 10 years later, for some reason, the secret has been threatened and needs protecting. Which is why the inspector and the coroner had to be silenced, isn't it? By someone in power in Japan and in Britain, using the two killers recruited for the assassin exchange.
Why would anyone agree to make you the assassin, though?
Yeah.
Like, you're the son of the guy. That would be... Like, they didn't even change your... You didn't even change your name. Why would anybody agree to make you the assassin if we knew exactly... Never... Fucking whatever.
He's looking for a reason. Order! Order at once!
He's certainly not making any sense.
10 years ago, my father was convicted in this very courtroom as a mass murderer, to be sentenced to death. But it was all a sham, and I swore to myself that I'd prove it. Which is why I had to come to Britain, whatever the cost. It's drinking time again.
Right, ask me like I give a shit.
You'll have to forgive me if I feel compelled to toast this vengeful Nipponese's tenacity of purpose here. However...
You're stupid and I hate you.
I will crush you. He who fails to quash his emotions in the courtroom has failed as a lawyer. Jules Van Zieks.
Come on, Kazuma, you know this won't wash. You're claiming your father was misrepresented in a trial that took place a whole decade ago. You must see that without evidence, that's nothing more than a wild accusation.
As it happens, I have evidence.
Please, please give it to us.
Is it the collar? Is it his gallstone? Was it the will?
What?
What is it, Kazuma? As the court has heard, I crossed the channel to France with Gregson on the 31st. I went with him on the pretext of being the assassin recruited to kill Seishiro Jigoku. But my true intentions were to make the inspector tell me the truth. What truth? The truth about the evidence, and he acknowledged what I'd already deduced. There's a closely guarded secret about what went on in that autopsy 10 years ago. What? A secret? I know nothing of any secret! While we waited for my supposed mark in Jigoku's cabin, I drew my clan's illustrious sword Karma before the inspector's eyes. He very quickly understood what my true motive was.
Right, I see. You're that Asogi's young lad, are you? And what? You're gonna cut me down with that thing? Is that it?
That will very much depend on the answers you give to my questions. I want to know what really happened 10 years ago. The truth, that's all.
Before we get into it, let me make one thing clear. I still believe your father was the professor. There's no doubt in my mind. But unfortunately, back then, we didn't have the evidence we needed to make the crime stick.
Gregson, you bastard. So, you admit it then? The evidence used in my father's trial was fabricated?
It's for the good of the country.
Gregson.
Anyway, I was just following orders.
Gregson. Orders? What exactly did you do? Speak!
Not who gave you the orders. I'm not saying another word.
You've got a sword to your neck, buddy. Even if your life depends on it?
That's right. even then.
Whoa. Ah.
So that's when the tip of your sword broke.
Oh, Kazuma-sama.
If the results of Clint Van Zeeks' autopsy were fabricated, then the investigating officer Gregson and the lead coroner Wilson must have known about it. And they can only have been ordered to pervert the course of justice in that way by one man. The man leading the case for the prosecution, Beric Van Zeeks.
Except for the man that was supposed to be leading the prosecution was...
Strongheart.
Lord
It was
Strongheart.
Okay. Cosmo's line of logic is not wrong here.
It's not
It's
wrong.
not wrong. He's
but
just
he's,
wrong.
He's wrong about who was the actual
But this gives
person.
more context as to why he's been a total bloodhound.
Mm-hmm.
Is because he's been trying to get to this point. It was Strongheart. In other words, it was me. The defendant did have cause to organize this exchange of assassins.
You're off topic here.
Exactly. And as was established earlier, it has to have been the Reaper himself who liaised with Chigoku in Japan to arrange the exchange. So it follows that the Reaper's true identity can only be that of the man who stands accused in this courtroom today, Beric Van Zeeks.
Objection!
Mm-hmm.
Kazuma Soi. What you've just told the court. Are you absolutely certain of your facts?
Yeah, do you have the actual physical evidence? Do you have actual physical evidence on you?
Did Gregson really fabricate evidence for that trial 10 years ago? I heard it with my own ears. His shameful admission.
This is hearsay, though.
This is
You
hearsay.
Realize.
It's hearsay. In that case, I know the name of the Reaper.
That's an angry man. That's an angry man. Oh, he angered.
What? This is the real Pandora's box now.
Lord Van Zeeks.
I gave no such orders. I know that for certain. Which narrows down the remaining possibilities to one.
Lord Van Zeeks isn't the one behind all this. Then yes, there is only one other person who could have done something like that. But there's a little bit of a teeny tiny problem with with the accusation, because I believe I know who it is too.
You
I just had a feeling this name was gonna come up. Detroit the infamous Reaper the Bailey is...
It's Susato. It's Sholmes.
Oh my god. I'm not even gonna say fucking YOLO. The only person who could have arranged the assassin exchange and manipulated the autopsy results is the Lord Chief Justice himself. Male Strongheart.
What? You Lord Strongheart?
Yeah, poor Van Zeeks. This man has been through so much. Yes, it's true. 10 years ago, the defendant handled the prosecution of the professor in court, but he only took over the case after his brother, Lord Clint Van Zeeks, had been killed.
I can only assume that this is the most inappropriate joke in British judicial history.
Oh, it's not, but unfortunately we're in a really awkward situation right now. Well, Lord Van Zeeks, who's gonna prosecute prosecute the guy? Who's gonna judge the guy? He's gonna be like, no, fuck you, the defendant's guilty.
Yeah. 10 years ago, I was very new to my profession. But I had a burning desire to avenge my brother's death, so I pleaded for control of the case. The investigation to that point, the supplication of the Lord to allow my brother's corpse to be examined. All the evidence I was given, the autopsy reports, it all came from you.
Oh my god. Oh boy.
I've spent my life since then believing I was in your debt for the way you stood aside and let me handle the trial. But I see now. I was very much mistaken.
It was a hugely influential force that caused the inspector and the coroner to break the law 10 years ago. And that same force was still felt a decade later on the other side of the world by Seishiro Jigoku. Someone give the man a sword. Exactly!
Yeah.
Hey, Kazuma, will you give Lord Van Zeek's your... Wait, no. Can you give me the sword? Oh, wait, I have your sword. Haha, Lord Van Zeek's here, catch. Lord Strongheart. Everything falls into place when we recognize that you are the Reaper of the Bailey.
Get him! Get him, Ryukun! Get him, everyone in this courtroom! Get him! Bam! The court awaits your response, my lord! This may very well go down in British judicial history, but I assure you, it is no joke. Consider this a formal accusal by the defense. It doesn't warrant a response. Oh. Oh. Yeah.
I knew this was gonna happen, though!
Finally!
I knew this was gonna happen! I'm gonna kick your ass, Strongheart.
A formal accusal? Don't be absurd.
You turned my boyfriends against each other, and now I'm after your ass.
The defense's claims are utter nonsense, a wild fantasy at best.
You're not gonna defend yourself?
You claim there was some wrongdoing with Lord Clint Van Zeek's autopsy. Well, what? That's utterly untrue.
Objection.
But I heard it from Gregson's own lips. He admitted to it. And where is your evidence? What? Gregson's dead now. Unless you are thinking of summoning a ghost to the stand.
It's doable.
Yep.
Ghosts exist in the canonically exist in this universe.
Don't challenge us.
We just need to find a spirit medium.
You mean to say?
Yeah, no, we pegged Strongheart for a villain from game 1.
I forget how the system works in your little backwater country. But in the courts of the British Empire, without evidence, there is no case.
Thank you, T-Chef, for the drink.
There is no case.
Thank you for the stretchy stretch.
Whoa.
No, he mad.
I have no intention of entertaining some wild fantasy that can't possibly be substantiated by anyone or anything. How about that collar? Mr. Sholmes? How about that collar, Mr. Sholmes?
Yeah.
Who ended up with that
Yeah, I
collar?
was gonna say,
Ah!
could Mr. Sholmes come in with the evidence
Yeah,
now?
Mr. Sholmes? Order! Order in court! Following Inspector Gregson's murder in the light of Dr. Wilson's death as well, there's really no one left who can testify about the events of 10 years ago. Is there?
It's almost as if that was on purpose!
almost as if!
Exactly, Wolfie. He got rid of the evidence.
So that was the real purpose of the assassination exchange. This court has no business raking over the coals of a case that was concluded a decade ago. The accusal brought by the prosecution and the defense is categorically denied. I take it there are no objections.
There are all the objections!
Nothing but objections!
There is only objections in this court. Kazuma, He's more or less waited his whole life for this moment. Is there really nothing else we can do now, Mr. Edgeworth? Is there no other avenue we could go down in pursuit of the truth of what happened all those years ago, Mr. Edgeworth? If only there was someone who could testify about Clit Van Zeek's autopsy.
Mr. Edgeworth? There is someone.
He's gone to extraordinary lengths to cover his tracks. Even so far as dispatching an assassin all the way to Japan to ensure Dr. Wilson's silence. And Dr. Size won't say anything against Strongheart. But there's still one ray of hope.
Objection.
You failed to kill Mikotoba! Actually, there is one person. One person who could still testify about that autopsy.
Don't be ridiculous. There's no one left. I killed them all. I mean, who? Ryunosuke, who? Tell me.
Kazuma,
Oh, please. This trial can't end. Not yet.
I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for the truth. And you're not following the truth right now. The person the defense would like to call on the stand to testify at the autopsy of Lord Van Zeeks is...
Take that!
Heaven help us. Another Japanese.
Fuck you.
God, he was racist.
Yeah, you could get out of this game without one more remark. An expert in forensic medicine, my lord, Professor Eugene Mikotoba, 16 years ago. He came to London with Seishiro Jigoku and Genshin Isogi as a visiting student.
And what could his testimony possibly tell us?
Professor Mikotoba was the primary assistant during the autopsy in question. Why wouldn't Strongheart have tried to kill him? He was also the person who actually penned the report.
Because he didn't know?
Incorrect. The autopsy was carried out by the coroner, Dr. Wilson. The report carries his signature. It was the primary assistant's duty to keep a written record of the coroner's work during the procedure. In actual fact, the coroner merely read over the report at the end and signed it.
In other words, Professor Mikotoba witnessed the entire autopsy from start to finish. Thank you, Wolfie. We're doing so much. My sweetie, in particular, is doing so much right now.
Thank you, Wolfie. I'm trying so hard.
I am only the protagonist and you are everyone else, but I will be Professor Mikotoba.
You will be Professor Mikotoba!
I am going to be talking to myself for some time.
Just a moment here. What's going on here right now? Van Zeeks has just found out it's Strongheart all along. Cosmo's not only found out that it wasn't Van Zeeks, but it was Strongheart, but Mikotoba has betrayed him all along. Because
I don't know that I don't know that Mikotoba knew that whatever was found in the autopsy was fabricated.
Mikotoba had information that he could have told Kazuma.
Yes, that's true. But also Mikotoba was very good to him, out of a sense of guilt. Also,
he was very good to him. So that's why I'm saying that this has got a sting. That on top of everything else,
sure.
He's finding out that Mikotoba, who is so good to him,
right,
who looked after him getting to Britain.
But we don't know. We don't know what Mikotoba knows.
We don't know what Mikotoba knows. We don't know what he really knows.
We don't know what he knows.
I don't know what anyone really knows sometimes in this game. Okay. Mikotoba. It's Mikotoba time.
I love that it's Strongheart right now that's also finding out for the first time that Mikotoba was even present.
It's true. Strongheart is also finding out. And thank you, Wolfie.
Yeah.
You're so sweet. Thank you.
You're so sweet, Wolfie. The defense demands that Professor Mikotoba be summoned to the witness as a witness as a matter of urgency.
Yeah.
Whatever really happened in that autopsy laboratory 10 years ago is something only he can tell us. He's gonna deny it.
Board. The defense's demand is denied. Denied!
I'm on a power trip. What?
Well, but Professor Mikotoba is in London at this very moment. We can summon him to the stand in minutes.
Well, I say we can't so.
No, of course he's not going to agree to it. Strongheart has no intention of summoning anyone who knows.
Of course not.
He's too concerned about protecting himself.
Prosecutor Asogi, let me refresh your memory, as you seem to have forgotten the prosecution's stance. Only minutes ago, you accused the defendant of being the Reaper and of masterminding the assassin exchange.
You think I give a fuck?
I did, yes. So, present your evidence for those claims and make your case complete. At this time, I don't have the requisite evidence, but that's exactly why we need witness testimony. Oh, the professor case is closed. There are no clues in the distant past that will bolster your argument today. I'm afraid to say, Prosecutor Asogi, that you would appear to be possessed by the spirit of your late homicidal father.
Shut the fuck up. He's like, I will be.
I will be now. Give me both of my swords and...
Here you go.
You wanted a murderous Japanese man? Well... Now, as I stated earlier, this court has already reached a conclusion with respect to the matter at hand. Inspector Gregson was murdered by Japanese Supreme Court Judge Seishiro Jigoku. As for any hidden circumstances that may exist, they will be investigated in due course by the proper authorities, all of whom I have murdered.
Objection.
We all know what will happen. That'll just give the mastermind of the whole venture time to cover his tracks again.
By which you mean me?
Abso-fucking-lutely! Yes!
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 You! Yes, you!
Yes, you! It's you!
Your punishment for this contemptible behavior will be decided at a later date. As for you, Prosecutor Asogi,
I like being punished. Get fucked.
you will be remanded following these proceedings. Willingly, I trust, since you gave your word. Ah! This futile game of revenge is over, young Master Asogi.
Oh, no!
Ah!
Oh, Cosmo!
That will be all. I hereby declare this trial to be over. Court is...
Sholmes.
Yeah!
I still hate you. Mr. Sholmes!
This is no place for amateur detection, Mr. Sholmes. May I remind you that these proceedings are closed to the general public. You will leave the courtroom at once.
Objection.
Mr. Sholmes was instrumental in the apprehension of Seishiro Jigoku before he fled from Europe. The court should hear what he has to say.
Lord Male Strongheart. No one was paying attention to me, so here I am.
I'm very sad. Wag, wag, wag.
It's imperative that you refrain from bringing this trial to an end at this stage. You thought you were going to hear from my partner, did you? Nope, it's me! It's me! Is it really? And why would that be?
Because I love you.
You need only recall your own words from the opening of the trial to answer that question. If I may, and I shall, we will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings. Surely it can't be that the shock of being accused of being the Reaper yourself has erased that from your memory, can it? The whole truth, sir, has already been uncovered.
Also, yes, Wolfie, you were entirely correct.
Yes,
It was
called
Sholmes to the rescue.
It would seem that we have a great many important members of the judiciary present here today. I put it to you, my dear fellows, should the trial end at this juncture? After all, why have you been invited to attend? To nod along to the prevarications of your superiors? Cosmo over there. Order! Order in court! It seems to me that we stand before a door that leads to a new era of legal practices. A door that is ajar.
But isn't it a door?
I knew you would say that, my dear fellow! Dance with me.
Sure.
Let us emerge from the shadows of the Reaper's decade-long ascendancy. For you and you alone, my dear fellows, have the power to push this door open now. The auditors in the gallery have no right to express an opinion on court proceedings. Silence!
He's right, the judge has absolutely no authority here.
Wow. Yes, we called the trial to an end, it must end.
But will that really do?
I sense dark things occurring behind the scenes, dark things indeed.
Is there secretly here to perjury? What? What? The trial should go on. Summon the witness.
That's right, we need to clear this up before that young Japanese fellow is remanded into custody. Kazuma!
Oh, what a beautiful face! Or is it a box? The door is a box!
The door is a box!
Ah! That's the real twist.
That's not how it works!
That's the real twist of this. Look at the hope in his eyes. He's so beautiful. Sholmes comes out of the sky like an angel.
He's so confused. It's the boyfriend club, all working together.
Right! My lord, you are concerned all presents would blah blah blah. Indicate yourself on the The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That's the very foundation of British law.
A toast to my dependable colleagues in the gallery.
On with the trial, on with the trial. Testify.
Testify! Testify! Well, my lord, you hear the voice of British justice, I take it? I think you'll find it will be rather awkward to silence. Oh. The court will recess briefly. So I can run away. I have no intention of shrinking from these allegations.
Our sweet, sweet boy.
Bailiff, arrange for the subpoena of the witness at once.
They really made that look precious.
As soon as the gentleman arrives at the courthouse, we shall reconvene.
Oh, God.
A recess won't be necessary, my lord. I've brought him along already. Pardon? Mikotoba is a close friend of mine. You might say we were very, very, very close back in the day.
Sholmes.
He accompanied me today and is waiting in the antechamber as we speak. So if you thought the boyfriend club was going to get to have some funsies in the recess, well, that's not going to happen, unfortunately. I do believe he's been enjoying a little trip down memory lane, in fact.
Well, you added a boyfriend to the boyfriend club that I absolutely don't want any part in, so...
What? Professor Mikotoba is here in the courthouse?
Mr. Sholmes, you didn't know this would happen, did you?
Mr. Sholmes! My dear fellow, no one is in a better position to answer that question than you, Shirley.
I wasn't just asking for the fun of it, you know.
Well, I must thank you for your assistance in this matter, Mr. Sholmes. However,
I have to pee.
You are of no further use here. Kindly leave the courtroom at once. But of course, in truth, I find myself rather busy now as a result of these developments. Mr. Naruhodo, I leave it in your capable hands.
Yes.
I trust you have Iris's little lucky charm with you? Wink a wink.
Absolutely. It's still in my pocket.
How cute. She sends her regards and a reminder. If you find yourself at a dead end, the ears are at your disposal. Just one tug, if you please.
It's gonna be the hardest tug I could possibly manage.
Oh, is it?
Yes, of course.
In that case, the trial will continue without delay. Bailiff, show the witness to the stand.
You'll have to hold your pee.
Oh.
So it's Lord Strongheart. He's the Reaper of the Bailey. Where exactly is this trial going to take me, I wonder?
It hasn't already taken me.
Just how deep am I about to be plunged into the blackness of the abyss?
I feel like you've asked that question about 25 levels ago.
Mm-hmm.
Does it get darker than this?
He's like,
do you
wow,
think?
I've hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
No.
The bottom is
No.
further down.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
The rock bottom just collapsed and there is a much further bottom down there.
That is quite an abyss.
And I thought I knew what a bottom was. That's how I know I'm a Switch now. Because I did not know how bottoms were.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm ready.
He's got his resolve.
I'm ready to head into the heart of this maelstrom. And confront whatever horrors it tries to drown me under.
Yeah.
To be continued! Alright, it is almost 9 o'clock.
Yeah, we should,
We're gonna
press
continue
the voices.
tomorrow.
We're gonna continue tomorrow.
Holy shit, though!
Holy shit.
Holy shit, y'all!
Holy shit. Holy shit.
Holy shit, though!
Holy shit.
Holy shit, holy fuck, holy god! We are in deep.
Oh.
Alright, who's strumming? Who's strumming? You know what? Let's just find someone I don't know. How about that?
Start the hack.
Ooh, apologies about.
He's got the nuclear.
Sorry, you had to hear that ad. Whee! Alright. So let us read this person. Okay. Alright, go say hi to this person. They are playing some Animal Crossing just like we were today. But holy crap!
Holy fuck.
Holy crap, that was an intense trial. That is, it
Wow.
continues to be an intense trial.
Wow.
Holy
Wow.
crap.
Wow. Wow.
Lots of reaping and stuff. Insane. Lord Strongheart is losing control of the trial.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in control of the trial because he knew the shit was gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he couldn't have the judge be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
This is a lot. I'm actually, my brain isn't really fully comprehending it. So I'm actually just gonna send you off. Say hello to this lovely person.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, come back tomorrow.
Probably tomorrow, before or around noon.
Yeah.
We have to plan to get food at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll see you guys. Bye.